Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-host and commentary, Ashton. And this is Catch-Up Commentary number 7, the first of 2020. Where's Mark? Because that's a shit ton of numbers. But this comes off the heels of the most recent 2 weeks of WWE programming, both Raw and SmackDown. You guys know how lengthy these can be, so take a deep seat. And also knowing that, I just want to dive right into this. Ashton, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm feeling pretty good. We just come off a really strong SmackDown, and it's gotten me realizing that, honestly, SmackDown is like 80% good, 20% garbage. Raw seems to be the exact opposite, though. Raw is like 80% garbage, 20% good. So we're going to talk about Raw first, and then we'll get into SmackDown. We did live react to last week's SmackDown, but that's not going to stop us from kind of overviewing it and talking about it tonight, because a lot of the stuff that happened last week plays into this week's episode of SmackDown anyway. So we have a lot to talk about, and we're gonna mostly talk about all the shit that happened on Raw, and then we'll talk about the good stuff that happened on Raw, which is, you know, few and far between, but it was there. And then we'll talk about the very little shit that happened on SmackDown, and then we'll talk about all the great shit that happened on SmackDown, the amazing stuff, the really fun stuff that happened on SmackDown tonight. So we've got a lot to talk about. I'm ready to talk about it. So if you want to kind of kick us off, feel free.
Well, you know how we do it TWitWoW style, folks. We always begin with heat of the night. I'm just going to say I have 2 heats tonight. I'm not even going to bother with nitpicks anymore, because I just feel like so much of WWE just irks me so much. So first thing, obviously, being the Rusev, Lana, Lashley, and now Liv, we can say, unfortunately, after all that anticipation and imagination.
Knew it.
Yep. I know. I expected so much and got so little. And the second heat of the night, just banging that out. Brock Lesnar being number 1 in the Royal Rumble. Dude, here's the thing. I'm gonna hand it over to you, because you're a composed and wonderful human being. Is there anything we even need to say about Rusev, Lana, Lashley, Liv that hasn't already been said? Like, I know I said this even the last time we did it, because it's just
yeah. I was
so
going to
bad.
say, for completion's sake, I am going to do an overview of everything from that storyline that happened in these 2 episodes of Raw, because there's a lot. So Liv did get another vignette on Raw, not this week, but the previous week, on the 30th of December Raw, and she said, to be different, you can't just look different, you have to feel different. Someone once made me feel different, and then they took it away. The old me would have done something impulsive. The new me is way more methodical. I strike when I'm ready, and I think I'm ready. Are you? So immediately we kind of got a feeling that we might see her that same night, and we should have figured, when we didn't see her up until the wedding, we should have figured that we would see her during the wedding. But then, yeah, we got the wedding. It was an absolute disaster. There were interruptions from exes, and then eventually Liv showed up. We got Jerry chants. Lana was crying in the ring. The crowd was yes chanting because they were excited about some potential HLA. And then Lana slapped Liv, and we got a little, like, a rolling on the ground, like the old school style cat fight almost. And then Liv actually had to be restrained. But right then, was as the pastor was about to name Bobby and Lana man and wife, Rusev pops out of the cake and attacks Bobby. Liv came back to attack Lana as well and shoves her face in the cake a whole bunch. Then on this week's episode of Raw, the show literally started out with a big recap of that entire segment. And it also got recapped again later on in the night, because that segment, they had to touch up on it again because they didn't actually follow up on it in the first half of the show. So they had to recap it twice, once at the very beginning of the show, which then didn't lead into anything right away, and then once again later on in the show, which did lead into Lashley and Lana coming out to finish their wedding, I guess. It was actually really funny because after AJ Styles beat Akira Tozawa, and he was walking up the ramp, we saw a guy in a suit slide into the ring and get assaulted by security. Turns out that was the pastor, so oops. But another disastrous thing about this angle. There was a fucking guy in the crowd holding up a sign behind that pastor's head that said Lana loves BBC. So like everything about this is just toxic and miserable, and I hate it. And then we got the old "You may now kiss the bride," and they do a quick peck on the lips. And Lana got all pissy, and she was like, "You're so boring. Even after all the money that I paid you, I'm not happy." And she, goes on this whole tirade, however you want to pronounce that word, talking about how, she's not happy because of all the people that don't want to see this ring on her finger. And then she literally says, and I quote, "All of you are basic, pathetic civilians that should be honored to be in my midst." Nobody talks that way, writers. But yeah, I actually wrote down in my notes. I don't know who writes her shit, but it's sounding very Ronda Rousey-esque at this point. So I'm wondering if it is like a Heyman thing, because wasn't there like a rumor back when Ronda was around that Paul was helping her with her promos?
That is something I remember hearing. Yes.
I wonder if he's the one writing up all this wordy, ridiculous shit.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of faith in Paul Heyman, among other things, recently. So yeah, if this was at a different time, I may have gotten up on here and defended him. Nah, fam, let's just go off. And then I'm gonna be honest, when you were recounting that Lana stuff and that promo, I kind of went somewhere else. I don't know where. It was just anywhere but here. And yeah, she's awful. She's absolute trash. It's really bad. It's really bad.
So, after Lana gets off of her little high horse, Bobby gets on the mic and he brings up Rusev, which inevitably leads to Rusev Day chants, and then Rusev shows up on the Titantron in front of a green screen of a beach. And he says, and this was actually, like, Rusev's trying his damnedest to redeem this angle. He's not going to be able to do it, but he's definitely inserting some enjoyable moments, because as soon as he shows up, he goes, "It is I, Rusev, from Rusev Day." And I just am like, oh, Rusev, you're great. But then he actually refers to them as Mr. and Mrs. Bob, too, which caught me off guard and made me laugh as well. But then he shows them a wedding album that he put together, which is literally just one picture of them actually happy, and then a whole bunch of pictures of the disaster that followed. And then Lana starts screaming about how much she hates Rusev, and Bobby tells her to shut up, and then tells Rusev that he used to be a man, but Lana stripped him of his manhood. And then he says, "Rusev, if you have any balls left, why don't you show up next week to Raw so I can strip them off and shove them down your throat?" And Rusev says, "No, that is not going to happen." Rusev says, "Next week is going to be return of the Bulgarian Brute, and next week he's going to do unspeakable things, and he's going to destroy every inch of his body, and anything left can be yours, Lana." And then later on in the night, we got an interview with R-Truth that was interrupted by Liv Morgan, who says that she's going to be in Rusev's corner next week for his match against Lashley. So that's everything. We got past it. If you have any commentary that you would like to add or talk about that we haven't already talked about this angle, feel free, but I'm spent on it. I'm ready to move on.
Oh, and waste more of our precious time on this? Fuck that. You did perfect. Let's move on.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more of our thoughts on this angle and how just garbage it is, just go back and listen to our last WWE catch-up commentary. Although I will say, I will add, I feel like this angle has gotten so bad that it is actually like actively regressing the progress that's been made with women's wrestling for the last few years. Because I'm sorry, but when somebody shows up in the crowd with a sign that says "Lana loves BBC," that's not the type of person that you should be inviting into your crowd. That's not the type of person that you want to be appealing to and that you want to have in your crowd.
Yeah, what he said.
So,
Christ.
Do we have anything actually, you know what? We should just kind of tear the Band-Aid off. Paul Heyman declared that Brock is in the Rumble. He's in the number one spot, and we have not heard anything about if he's going to be defending the WWE title, which tells me that he definitely is not going to be until we find out otherwise. Unless they come out and say, "Oh, by the way, Brock's going to be defending the title." Unless they say that, it's safe to assume he won't be, which is my problem with this in the first place.
Yeah, it's funny because I did what I usually do anymore when WWE disappoints me. I wrote very angry tweets about it. So I angrily tweeted, like, what sense does it make for Brock to be number one when he's the WWE champion? and the title isn't even on the line.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it. And then I got into a discussion that I thought was actually going to be toxic, but it wasn't. I have to credit the person that engaged me. They were very respectful, very substantive. Because it started with, oh, but I never hear you complain about Okada in the G1 or the IWGP champion, in the G1. And I'm just like, well, for one thing, I personally have never seen a champion win a G1.
No, it's never happened.
And here's the thing, too, and I'm sorry, and this is going to sound incredibly biased, it's just how I fucking feel. I trust New Japan's writing that if the day ever comes that we do bear witness, which I do think we will, Ashton, in our lifetime, an IWGP champion winning the G1, I trust their writing to make it more compelling than if Brock won the Rumble here. So that's just, it comes down to personal preference, but
well, they actually have a plan in place for if the champion does win the G1, that champion would then get to choose their opponent. So they can think ahead of time and be like, okay, what is the best way to get to this story or to tell this story? And if they just so happen to decide that telling the story of this champion is so dominant that they won the G1 and then chose their opponent, and now that opponent is the ultimate underdog, then that is what they're going to do. But with WWE, it feels very much like they're flying by the seat of their pants, and they have this agenda that they're trying to push, and a lot of the agenda is stuff that we think is shit, like, oh, Tyson Fury, and oh, Cain Velasquez, and even to a certain degree, guys like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and of course, Brock being sort of the key piece of this agenda that the WWE likes to push. It's exhausting, and the more that we feel like they're straying from that agenda, the more excited we get about the product, but the more that we feel like they're staying true to that agenda, the more jaded we get on the product,
Yeah, now I will say the Twitter conversation that I was alluding to, it did have what I would regard as, one redeeming point, one redeeming aspect to it. But so this is going to be kind of my silver lining, so to speak, because you guys caught me on a great mood tonight. I'm fucking flying high at the seat of my pants. But I don't think it's worthwhile enough to offset the negative of this whole situation. And I've heard everybody talk, even Foster kind of alluded to it without even knowing it, saying, if Mustafa eliminates Brock to get payback for Money in the Bank, I would freak out. And that's the rub that I know certain guys, not every guy, but certain guys are probably going to get mixing it up with Brock in the Rumble. Like, say, for example, if Keith Lee entered the Rumble. Like, I know Brock's not going to eliminate him straight away, right? There is going to be a bit of a tussle between Keith Lee and Brock, and that'll make Keith Lee look great. However, it's Brock. And you know what the funny thing is about Brock Lesnar, and I'm glad I kind of broached this point, when he first came back to WWE all those years ago, that was kind of my mindset about Brock, is like, oh, all these guys are going to get this rub off of him. But to circle back to your point, Ashton, who really has gotten a rub from Brock that wasn't already a high WWE priority, like the Roman Reigns, like the Cain Velasquez. So even if we have favorites out here, for Foster, Mustafa, for a lot of people, Riddle was a name I saw a lot, Keith Lee. How many of these guys can we really expect, given WWE's track record, to get a quality rub from mixing it up with Brock Lesnar in the Rumble? I don't know. Like, I don't want to dismiss the point out of hand, right? But I also don't want to overestimate its value. You get what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's one of the things where, like, if we were optimistic, which with the WWE we're not, but if we were optimistic, we could definitely hype ourselves into getting excited over this possibility because, oh, maybe they're going to use Brock in the Rumble as a way to set up, like, this new big-time feud that might even lead into WrestleMania, like Drew, or as you mentioned, Riddle, or someone along those lines where, we know that Brock kind of has the power to cross over between brands because he literally just decided he was leaving SmackDown and coming to Raw and no one's going to stop him. And so Brock kind of has this certain level of transcendence about him where, like, the rules that are in place of WWE don't really apply to him. So, like, if somebody like a Matt Riddle, or even if somebody like a Braun Strowman over on SmackDown, something along those lines, if somebody from a different brand would eliminate him, it's the type of story where the WWE would be very much willing to play with it and have Braun go to that brand, or have Brock rather go to that brand and start up some shit with that person. And then they would obviously also allow that person to come to Raw to start some shit with Brock. So there are possibilities here. The problem is that as much passion for possibility as you or I or any other given fan might have, The WWE has their plan, and it's most likely Tyson Fury or Cain Velasquez, or absolute best case scenario, which is still not a scenario that I'm excited for, Roman Reigns. And I'm just not excited about any of it because I know what could be, and that excites me, but then I also know what most likely will be, and that doesn't excite me at all.
I think you said it perfectly, man, because I'm right in the same boat as you. And I feel bad for you in particular because I know it wasn't that long ago we were talking about, WWE's, 2020. And I know how you really anticipate the Rumble every year. And just seeing Brock like coming in number one immediately and knowing what they could possibly be setting up, which again, it's like either Tyson Fury or Cain Velasquez, the rematch, that just takes all the wins out of the sails. And it's like,
Dude,
why even
dude, I'm
expect
gonna
Rumble?
tell you straight up. Like we've had conversations. I might have even said it live a couple times. Royal Rumble is that one pay-per-view every year, like Money in the Bank for you. It's
Yeah.
one pay-per-view every year where I just get excited for it no matter what, no matter who's in it, no matter what. And in one Raw, and really in one segment, the WWE has managed to kill my interest in one of the two Royal Rumbles that are happening. I still am interested in the Women's Royal Rumble, but they have completely killed my interest in the men's because I know that the first half of the Men's Royal Rumble is just going to be Brock doing things, just Brock being Brock basically, and I can't stand that.
Yeah, man, I totally get that. It's really frustrating, but I hope, maybe one day the product will improve. But you know what? I'm tired of saying that though, because like we've been covering Stardom lately, and we had that whole Saki Kajima development, like, and the way I popped and the way I reacted, I want to feel that more often. I want that to be the norm rather than the exception.
Yeah.
And when WWE, but here's the thing about that. I'm grateful for New Japan and I'm grateful for Stardom. That's where I get my supply. But let's not make any mistake. And you and I have talked about this. WWE is the juggernaut in the game and probably will be into the far future. So when they can gobble up all these people and pay out these contracts and do this, and yet still not turn out those moments that make me pop like even a fucking Saki Kashima turn, for Stardom, it's really disheartening. And I only bring this up because we're coming upon the point in the year for WWE. Like, I mean, even to crisscross with New Japan here. New Japan just had Wrestle Kingdom. Yep. Now, I would say Wrestle Kingdom, I think their weekend experiment paid off. I don't know if I'd want it every year. We kind of talked about that. But fact remains, I would say that I had a lot of fun with Wrestle Kingdom. Did you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was amazing.
And that was amazing, right? WWE should be looking to generate that same electricity. And the way it's looking right now, at least on the Raw side, I want to emphasize that, guys, because SmackDown's actually been consistent enough that they could actually hammer out not only a decent card, but a compelling card based on stories that are looking like they'll happen and also stories that might happen. But
and
the
stories
Raw
that
side,
are currently happening.
And stories that are currently happening. So I've got to give SmackDown credit. But on the Raw side, because I don't want to be too negative or be on WWE's throat, and I know some people are turned off by that, but I just got to be truthful. On the Raw side, it's like WrestleMania season isn't even close to them. It's like there's no urgency there. There's no, again, to use one of my favorite phrases on here, there's no passion for possibility. Okay, guys, what's our card going to look like? And it's just so goddamn dispiriting because it's like Wrestle Kingdom was phenomenal, and you're just going to let them beat your ass. Because, dude, honestly, on the Raw side, and I do want to stress the Raw side because maybe SmackDown will surprise us, I don't see anything with Brock or any of the big tier matches that could even come close. I mean, fuck Okada Ibushi. That's in the fucking stratosphere. Even Jay White Naito. Even fucking GOT versus Finjuice. I want them to step it up. I want them to do compelling stuff. And, man, you just announced Brock going in at number one. I don't want to see Brock make the rest of the WWE roster look, like pathetic. Oh, I could run roughshod over them every day. The only reason they're able to elevate up the card is because I'm not here at all. Like it's just such a masturbatory thing to me. And just to see Cain Velasquez and Tyson Fury come in and steal all the glory, just like Brock stole the glory from Ali at Money in the Bank. Like, I'm tired of that fucking trope playing itself out in WWE. It's just so dispiriting. So I'm right there with you.
To me, there are two guys that I have in mind that one of them is more realistic than the other, but being totally realistic, I don't think either one of them is going to get the rub. But there are two guys that I have in mind that I think would be the ideal candidates to eliminate Brock from the Rumble and get that rub.
Yeah.
The less realistic one that I think would pop me way more, but is still, I want it so fucking bad, is Matt Riddle. And we've talked about that already. Because Riddle, Riddle eliminating Brock and then Brock showing up on NXT, I mean, already you're like, okay, let's get the fucking drawing power of Brock Lesnar on NXT for an episode or two. But then also, like, he assaults Riddle, and then Riddle shows up on Raw, and we get pull apart fights, and that, like, build that shit to WrestleMania, and you've got a fucking star making moment for Riddle. And for all I care, you don't even have to have Riddle win. Just have him take Brock to the fucking limit. I would prefer it if you would have Riddle win. Hell, I would prefer it if you have Riddle fucking retire Brock because I don't want Brock around. But if you can at least just give Riddle that rub, it would be amazing. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't expect that to happen. Honestly, I think Riddle is probably going to end up being in like that Cesaro column where it's just like the perfect dream match for Brock Lesnar that literally never ended up happening. So that's like probably not going to happen. And then the more realistic one that might happen and has already kind of been teased, but still probably won't happen because they've got to get their MMA bullshit in there, is Drew.
Oh, dude. Yes. Drew would be so fucking good in that spot. Because here's the thing. When it comes to NXT, guys, I'm right there with you. Riddle Brock on the marquee, that gets me fucking excited. Hell, by a snowball's chance in hell, if it was fucking Keith Lee and Brock, because I don't feel like Keith Lee is close to done with his business in NXT, but Keith Lee and Brock would get me excited. Drew and Brock, though, focusing purely on main roster, which I definitely think is the most likely, at least as far as the men's is concerned.
I feel like Drew McIntyre right now is the closest thing as far as the caliber athlete that we've seen since Brock's original run.
Yes, dude. Like, he's so good in there. He's showing more personality lately, in my mind, on the mic.
And we will talk about that, Lynn.
Yeah. And I just feel like he'd be a great fit for it. Because I know you're not alone. Like, I know you're not in the minority when you talk about how much you anticipate the Rumble and how much you look forward to the Rumble. Because I know a lot of people share in that sentiment, and I don't want that collective energy to die because fucking Brock has to come in and do what Brock does, and that's just take the wind out of everything.
My two favorite things about the Royal Rumble every year aren't even watching it. My two favorite things about the Royal Rumble every year are, one, our prediction game that we play.
Yeah.
And two, watching other people's reactions to some of the surprise entrances in the Rumble. Those are my things about the Rumble every year.
Yeah, Foster even said my friends and I get together every year and watch the Rumble. Yeah, it's like a real it's the beginning of the community, at least it's heavily invested in WWE, coming together and the camaraderie and everything else, which is a beautiful thing. And now the camaraderie may be predicated this year on a hatred of Brock Lesnar, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I've got nothing else to say about this for now. We'll probably have new developments as we progress towards the Rumble, which is 2 weeks from Sunday. So going to be very interesting how that all plays out. What do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, let's talk about more dumb shit that happened on Raw that maybe some people liked, and I'm sorry if you are somebody that enjoyed this and I just annoyed you by saying that it sucked, but in my opinion it sucked. The Raw that happened, not this week, but the previous week, actually opened up with a recap package of Seth and AOP just kind of running roughshod, and then they came out, Kevin Owens tried to cut him off, but they got the upper hand until Samoa Joe's music hit. Joe evened the odds, and Kevin Owens got a chair to really make sure that they were able to run AOP and Seth Rollins off. But then security breaks things up. We get a backstage promo from Joe, very fiery. Talks about how Seth's always acting like he was forced into this role, but Seth's the one forcing Joe into doing this. And now Kevin Owens is never going to have to walk alone again. Then this week, they talk about a match against Seth and the AOP, and Joe has a guy who will team with them for the six-man tag. We get another Seth promo talking about how he's the chosen one. We get another Joe and Kevin Owens promo later in the night, and Joe shows Kevin Owens the partner in a completely dark room, which literally was a meaningless red herring that didn't actually have anything to do with who it was. Kevin Owens was all happy, and then Joe told Charlie, good things come to those who wait. And the surprise partner ended up being the fucking Big Show. They won by DQ because Seth attacked Big Show with a steel chair. And everything about this to me had so much potential, just like Brock being in the Royal Rumble has so much potential. And all it ended up being was fucking lame.
Yeah. Here's my thing on this.
I just hate that they roped Joe into something and that immediately was like, okay, this is cool now. And then the same, like, within a week, they roped the fucking Big Show into it and made it not cool anymore.
Yeah, I can see why you feel that way. And it's not even that I don't share your sentiments. I'm kind of ambivalent on this because Joe and Kevin on the same team is cool. Like I saw the promo when they were being escorted out. Kevin really put Joe over big. Joe is a babyface. Honestly, it's welcomed because I love his work as a heel. Let nobody confuse me. I think he's an amazing promo. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, promo in the company. And seeing him as a babyface, it's new territory. I think it keeps him fresh. So I've welcomed all of it, and I think too the turn makes sense because you look at what Kevin and Joe are going up against with Seth and the AOP, who again are feeling like a very legitimate trio at present. I have liked how they've been booked. On the one hand, if you're looking at it purely from logistics, the AOP are two monsters, not just one, and Seth is very cunning. You know, a guy like the Big Show with his storied history, being a veteran and just being what he is physically, can really even the odds. So I get that from a narrative perspective. However, and there's always a caveat, right? You once again miss the chance. You've got Seth and AOP running roughshod, owning the show. Seth running his mouth. You've got Kevin, you've got Joe, two badass guys who I think are cool right now as babyfaces. Why not make a third guy? Because I know the guy you were predicting, Ash, and I think a lot of people were predicting, and I was certainly hoping, Aleister Black.
Yeah, because they showed the fucking, when Kevin Owens opened that door and saw the guy in the room, it was a completely dark room, and we've seen Aleister Black cutting promos from a completely dark room before, so it would have actually made narrative sense. It would have been like a friggin' Easter egg, like, hey guys, wink wink, this is a hint at who it's gonna be. Some of our sharper fans could probably figure it out before they see him, but no, that had literally nothing to do with who it was. It was a complete red herring. It was meant to throw us off, I think. Or it was just a fucking lazy ass, like, oh, we don't actually have anyone in there and we just forgot to turn the light on. Like, that's seriously, like, it's just laziness rather than an actual plot point.
Yeah, and here's my thing.
This is why I fucking hate this shit, though, because I want to be invested. I want to be rewarded for paying attention to details, and then they do shit like this.
Yeah, I just want to make my position clear because I saw Javaris, for instance, say that he likes seeing the Big Show. Here's the thing, Javaris. I don't hold it against anybody that likes seeing the Big Show because I get it. He's had a great story getting in shape. You know, he said he wanted to live longer than Andre. He wanted to be healthy, this and that. It's a great story. Seeing him back, you know, it's kind of like a redemption thing for him because it wasn't that long ago. Crowds were chanting, please retire. So I don't bemoan anybody for appreciating the Big Show or even Big Show himself for getting his moment. I mean, what's he going to do? Say no?
Yeah.
What I bemoan, right? And I'm going to
is the opportunity cost.
Well, you say opportunity cost, and that's correct. I was going to use a phrase that you use often when we play Rocket League. Process over results. Like you get the cheap pop because that's part of the writing process anymore. Is what's going to get the quick pop, but your process isn't making anybody new. Yep. Like, again, I don't bemoan anybody that enjoyed it, Big Show himself, anything like that. What I'm saying is you have...
It's that word cheap. It's that word cheap. You get the cheap pop. It's a return pop. It's fleeting, you know? Like, you get this quick pop for Big Show, but imagine the pop that you would have gotten if Aleister's music would have hit. It probably would have been just as big, if not bigger, because, you know, Aleister's actually getting really fucking over. And then you build on something then. Like with Big Show, it's fleeting, like I said. You get the pop and then it's diminishing after that. Like every time we see him after that first time, we care less and less and less because he's the fucking Big Show and he's been around forever and we don't care about the Big Show anymore. But Aleister Black, he shows up and now all of a sudden you're building him up. You're moving him upwards. You're making him into something bigger than what he was before. It's progressive, whereas with Big Show, it felt regressive. You know what I mean?
And I want to keep having this conversation because I feel like there's still a good bit of momentum here, especially with chat chiming in. Because my thing is, one, I didn't even take for granted that we're going to see Big Show next week. I thought maybe that this was just a one-off, just to kind of send a message. I don't expect him on TV every week at this stage of his career, which ties into my point, too. At this stage of his career, he doesn't need a moment like this. He's had plenty of moments like this. And then going in to point 3, just to address what Javaris again has said. He said, quote, but I'd rather see Aleister and Buddy keep killing it than have him associated with bum-ass Ethington. Here's the thing, Javaris. I can respect your personal sentiments about Seth Rollins. But for me, and I even share them to a degree because I've been loving what Alistair and Buddy have been doing. But here's the thing about that. In WWE's eyes, the same way I may personally hate Charlotte, anybody that associates with Charlotte and especially comes out on the winning end, which I know is rare, they move up the card and their stock rises. If Aleister Black moves on from Buddy Murphy, and I love Buddy Murphy to death, and he steps forward with Joe and Owens and says, okay, I'm tired of seeing you guys run roughshod. I'm tired of waiting for people to pick fights with me. I'm here to pick a fight with you. Aleister's stock goes up because he's associating with the guy that WWE has positioned first as the top face and now probably as the top heel. So when Aleister's going after a guy like that, that moves him up the card.
I mean, dude, and not only that, but that can also then be turned around and used to move Buddy Murphy up the card because we don't have to break that off. We could literally, Aleister Black shows up in the main event. He gets that rub of interacting with Seth because Seth is a former Universal Champion and so is Kevin Owens. He gets that rub of teaming up with Owens and Joe. He gets made to look closer to being a main eventer. You know, it starts to maybe plant the seed like, oh shit, he's in here with Universal Champions. I wonder if he could be a world title holder one day. And then next week, he has a match already set up with Buddy Murphy. So maybe Seth attacks Aleister Black. Seth and the AOP cost him that match. Buddy Murphy just beat a guy that was rubbing shoulders with world champions last week. That makes him look better too.
Exactly, Ashton, which again goes back to what I said, which is a line you've used plenty of times. It's the process over the result. Like, if you change your process, you're going to get better fucking results because their process right now is get the cheap pop, just get through the week by week, forget long-term storytelling.
Yeah, I was going to say their process right now is very much like, let's live in the now. Let's do what we can to pop the ratings and pop the crowd right now. Let's focus on the now. Let's push the guys that are awesome now. Let's push the guys that are over now. We'll worry about getting other guys over later. And they never get around to it. And then they just don't make anybody.
Yeah, later never comes, and exactly. That's the problem.
Yep.
So no, I feel like I've tried to be very even-handed and very level.
And by the way, can I just add?
Yeah.
The one if you didn't want to go with Aleister Black, because that's a very specific name, and I don't like to focus on, well, it has to be this one person. If you didn't want it to be Aleister Black, just leave the fucking light on in that room so that we don't even have the thought in our mind, oh my God, it's Aleister Black. He cuts promos in there. Like,
yeah,
put the fucking light on. And then guess what? Nobody on the internet, nobody in their right mind just is connecting those dots and saying, oh my God, it's going to be Aleister Black. And then it's less of a letdown when it's the Big Show. You know what I mean? Like something.
Oh, dude.
Such a minute little detail as that made this match so much lamer than it could have been.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up, Ashton, and I didn't think we'd get into like a deep conversation this early, but here we are. Because I hate it because to me it's deliberately manipulative. Like misleading. You know what you're doing. Yeah, it's misleading because you want to get them to that third hour where ratings are always the lowest. You want to work them. You want to put the idea in their mind of Aleister Black or just anybody. Because, dude, even if your thought isn't Aleister, you'd think, my first thought would be, a dark room, you can't even see them. They must be the biggest deal. I mean, I didn't know WWE would take it so literally, but I digress. And it's like they make you hang on until that third hour because I'm willing to bet, no offense to the Big Show. I don't mean this personally against him, but if it was just outed as the Big Show early, I'm guessing not many people would tune in. But because of the element of surprise, right? We're human beings. We want our payoff. And then we get it, and it's like, oh, I didn't even really know what I was expecting, and yet I'm still disappointed. It's just, it sucks because I really think the angle's hot. And I think when you have a hot angle, especially one like this, where it's not like a mano-a-mano thing, and you're trying to get people together to take down one grand force, make fucking people. That's I mean, that's just where I'm coming from, man. So I'm pretty much in agreement with you.
Because that's the thing is like you literally, you could have switched the Big Show for any other guy on this card. Like you think about it this way. You could have switched the Big Show for Drew McIntyre. If they're trying to turn Drew McIntyre face, put the Big Show in. He's squashing Ryder and Hawkins. He still gets the cheap pop for his entrance. It's like, oh my God, he's back. What's going on right now? This is crazy. And then Joe, a former heel who has interacted with Drew McIntyre before, it makes sense that he would be the one to bring Drew in on the operation, and Drew gets fucking made then. Like it's not about let's make Aleister Black. It's about let's just make somebody. It's not, it's about not leaning so much on the old guard and the cheap pops and the return pops and the nostalgia pops. It's about telling a fucking comprehensive ass story and actually creating stars. But the WWE doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, well said. I don't really know what else to add. We can move on.
Well, I mean, while we're here, right, we might as well talk about Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy. They had a great match last week. Black won with 2 black masses, and then this week Black had a match against Shelton Benjamin, and he won that also via black mass, but then Murphy immediately attacked him from behind and did like a big beatdown on him, including a knee into a chair, and then sat Indian style up on one of the barricades over Aleister's sort of unconscious body.
I mean, I'm loving everything they're doing together. I just wonder, because Aleister now has beaten Buddy Murphy like 2 times, like what are you
Murphy's
Buddy?
Getting his match in this coming week. I think they've got a rematch.
Okay, so this would be the 3rd time they faced each other, correct?
Yes. So I would think if Aleister wins again, which I don't expect him to, but if he does, it's a pretty clear and concise, like, yeah, the feud's over. Aleister's better than Murphy.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. I kind of hope Murphy wins here. In fact, not even kind of. I really do want him to win here, because you can't even argue that it's 50-50 booking when Aleister's up 2-0 right now. You know what I mean? So, like, Aleister, to me, if you're going by the scorecard, is still the better competitor, but at least you gave Murphy something, and you showed people, like, he can hang with Aleister Black. Because, again, I've been loving everything they're doing. I'm excited for that match. I think it's going to be great. And yeah, I mean, this is something, again, the positive stuff.
Their matches have all been great.
Oh my God, dude, they're maximizing their minutes, which you love to see it, because Murphy, I'll go on record as saying right now, I think Murphy's one of the hungriest people in the business, and I love it. Like, I really think I gravitate to him, really for that more than anything else. Like, I love his passion, I love his desire, and it shows, because this guy, I really thought he was on the road to nowhere, and we've told the story before. Got on 205 Live, made that his brand in my mind with his fucking performances with Mustafa Ali and others, and now went to SmackDown, had the great match with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, and did all that stuff.
And Mustafa Ali.
And now he's doing this stuff with Aleister. It's like, you give this guy the ball. He's consistently scoring touchdowns. Honestly, we talk about the mid-card championships. If Ray doesn't beat Andrade, or Humberto doesn't beat Andrade, because I'm thinking one of those two will do it, a babyface Buddy Murphy, because I think the quality of these matches is going to turn him face. Because didn't you even tell me after the last match these two had that Buddy got a standing ovation? I remember you telling me that.
It was the match itself, I think, got a standing ovation, not necessarily Buddy specifically.
But I stand by my point, though, that I think these matches are of such a quality that they could potentially turn Murphy face.
Yeah.
And if that would happen, I would honestly...
Well, and I was even going to say, if they keep doing this, like if Murphy beats Black and then we get another match, and Murphy beats Black again, and then we do another match, and it's like the big rubber match, and maybe they make it 2 out of 3 falls to call it like a best out of 7 or something like that, I could see these guys getting, so intimate with each other that they become a tag team, the Bar style.
Yeah. Murphy is either going to win tag team gold, or these matches are going to go over like gangbusters, and hopefully they maintain his momentum. I would love to see him with a mid-card title before the end of 2020.
Yeah.
Like, get some fucking hardware on this dude. He's a workhorse.
I want Murphy to be a mid-card champion by the end of the year, and I want Aleister Black to hold one of those 2 world titles by the end of 2021.
You're damn fucking right, Ashton. You're damn fucking right, because I wasn't even going to touch on Aleister, because everybody knows how I feel about him. Licensed to print money, activate it any fucking time. But I really wanted to go out of my way to praise Murphy, because I won't deny that you're definitely the bigger Murphy fan between the two of us, but I respect the fuck out of that dude's hustle. And I just wanted to put him over too, because he deserves a championship. I think he would bring credibility and prestige and excitement to any championship he holds. You talk about, I know it's on SmackDown, so it wouldn't count, but you talk about the Intercontinental title being kind of like a workhorse title for people. Any title that Buddy Murphy holds is a workhorse title, because he's a goddamn workhorse.
Yes, exactly.
That's my.
So if Aleister and Buddy become a tag team again, do we get to go back to calling them Blurfy?
You know what? I'd be open to it. Sounds good to me. Yeah, I got no problem.
We had Blake and Murphy. Now we're gonna get Black and Murphy.
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
All right. So up next, let's talk about Randy Orton coming out to talk about this injury because there was this whole thing where not last week, but the previous week, the week that we actually covered on our last catch-up commentary, Orton lost. You know, it was him and the Viking Raiders against the OC, and it was all three members of the OC. And Orton went to turn around and he couldn't pivot right because of his leg, and AJ hit him with a phenomenal forearm and won the match for the OC. And then a couple days later, at a show in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is like a half hour away from where I live, Orton tweaked his knee and they made a big hubbub about it. And then on Raw, he comes out in a cast or in a knee brace and on crutches and talking about, oh man, I really messed up my knee. I just hope that I'm going to be able to come back, and I can promise you that somebody's going to get RKO'd at WrestleMania. And then AJ comes out and he's talking his shit and talking about, I feel like that bully at the playground that picks on the kid and then he can't do anything about it. Ha ha ha. And Orton is just like, he's playing it like all coy, like, oh man, I really wish I could beat this guy up right now, but I can't because I'm hurt. And then AJ fucking, kicks the crutch out from under him and talks about how, if it's gonna take until WrestleMania for you to get good, I can wait. And then Orton's just like, hey AJ, you're patient. I'm not. And then he RKO's him and then he stomps on the supposedly injured knee 3 times just to show that it's not injured at all. And then he does the Orton pose on the corner. It's a whole thing. So, what did you think about this segment, John?
Man, okay.
You really got like a running start there and you still couldn't cross the finish line.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love it. It just shows how shit this was.
Because, dude, here's my thought, right? Trying to get them all together.
I think they were like trying to recapture the magic of the salmon jacket Mark Henry promo,
which you never could.
No,
like
never. Ever.
I'm offended, dude. I'm offended they even tried, to be perfectly honest, because it's like, how fucking, like, I wanted to go Mark Henry. You think it's that easy? You need better people writing the script. And so
I got a lot left in the tank.
Exactly, dude. God, somebody with how glorious the internet is. Somebody needs to make a compilation of every bit of angry Mark Henry trash talk ever. Because the last time we did this, I came up and I reenacted mine when he laid out John Cena. You hold that for me, because now it's coming for me. Now you know what it's like to be in the ring with a boss. He's so dominant. So good. But yeah, no, you're never going to be Mark Henry. In fact, Mark Henry beat you for his first World Heavyweight Championship, thus objectively proving that he's superior. Get over it. And these WWE sponsored accounts, like the Fox account and stuff like that, which, I mean, they do great work. I'm not about to hate on them, but they're like, oh, it was the greatest deception of all time. Randy fooled all of us. It's like, hello, are you going to act like Mark isn't even in the room? Fuck yourselves. Like, it was fine. And admittedly, I really did think that Orton was genuinely injured. So I won't even act like, oh, you didn't have me at all. I was never fooled. Because
here's the thing. I didn't pay enough attention to the previous Raw to know about the knee tweak. But as soon as I saw the recap of the previous week on Raw when Orton tweaked his knee, I was like, oh, so this is a work. I get it. And it's like this immediate reaction. It's just like, okay, so this is all an angle. And then he came out and he's milking. And they almost had me. But it was all a work.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, dude, the moment his music hit and he came out, that's when I knew it was a work. But when I just saw the live event footage right before Raw, I'm like, oh, yeah, it sucks for him. I actually almost felt bad for you, Randall. Christ. And then I get to see that bad acting. Again, I had criticisms that may not have been popular the last time we were up here talking about this. This feels like a waste of AJ Styles. I still feel that way.
I gotta tell you, everything that's been going on with AJ in the club lately has felt so fucking boring and inconsequential. I hate it.
And should that ever happen when you've got somebody the caliber of fucking AJ Styles, who I do believe is a genuinely good heel, by the way. Yeah. I don't think the problem is that he's heel. I think the problem is what he's been given. Because, dude, I mean, when you talk about, like, peak heel AJ Styles, the feud with John Cena. Like, what are we going to do tonight? Beat up John Cena. Like, that was great shit. I don't get that energy from this. This literally feels like, you know what this feels like? This feels like a fucking filler feud.
Yeah.
It really feels like a filler feud, and that's
It's one of those things where, like, I really want to go to bat for the OC because they're coming from New Japan and they kind of have that pedigree. But at the end of the day, I'm starting to wonder if, like, maybe the only reason that Carl Anderson was ever interesting in the first place was because he was allowed to use the gun stun. And if you have that much of a crutch that you can't be interesting without it, maybe you just weren't that good in the first place, you know?
yeah.
I'm starting to. It's like WWE makes me really question whether these guys are actually good or not. It's like I want to go back and rewatch their old shit, but then like all their old shit, Anderson's got the gun stun and he can use it, and it's going to be good, but it's also going to involve that, and it's going to be like the crutch. So like I don't know if I'm going to be able to really have like a conclusive. If I can arrive at a solid conclusion on my assessment of Gallows and Anderson, aside from just at least in WWE, they kind of suck. They're kind of boring. They're not interesting. Their matches aren't interesting, but I don't necessarily know who to place that blame on because we've also heard from like TJ Perkins, when you're in the WWE, your matches aren't your own. You get told basically what to do in your matches by the referee who's getting his information from Vince and company. So
Yeah. And dude, just the idea that you even question it, right? Which I don't blame you for, but it's such a shame that WWE does that because it's just this whole thing feels lifeless right now. And honestly, I've never really been into AJ's Mania matches, but I always think, well, maybe this will be the Mania that they use him, right? But
dude, how dumb is it that AJ Styles' best match at WrestleMania ever is against fucking Shane McMahon?
It's still kind of shocking to the sensibilities, right? I won't say shock to the system because that belongs to.
I don't know what's more shocking, the fact that I said it out loud, or the fact that when you think about it, it's actually true.
Ooh, yeah, that stung a little. I don't know what AJ's going to do at WrestleMania. I don't think it'll be this, to be fair, but I've never really trusted WWE to give him something compelling. And God, this really wasn't a great way to go out before we go into Mania mode. I'd
love to have God in WWE's on Raw's tag division. They could really contribute.
Oh, dude, they're just on another level.
Guerrilla tactics is time for warfare.
I'm just bored out of my mind with this. I'm sorry. I'm just bored out of my mind with this. And again, it's AJ Styles, and I'm just like. I found him more entertaining when he was low-key defending Flat Earth on Talking Smack. Let's get more of that.
I fucking miss Talking Smack. God damn it.
I know, right? We can't have nice things, bro. We just can't have nice things.
Vince takes them away from us.
I know. We didn't even do anything wrong either. Like, I know I have a propensity to turn up, but I actually feel like I was well-behaved that time, and we still lost Talking Smack. God damn it. So... I got nothing else to say, brother. If you got anything else to add to this, we can move on.
Well, let's just talk about. I mean, we were already talking about Orton and AJ, so let's just continue with AJ. He has a match against Tozawa on this week's episode of Raw. We get a recap of the fake injury thing with Orton, and then AJ beats Tozawa with Randy Orton moves. He does the rope and DDT, and then the theatrics setting up the RKO, and then the RKO itself. And like even after the match, he was doing the Orton poses and stuff, and then that was kind of what led into the fucking wedding pastor getting in the ring, getting attacked by the freaking security guards. That was hilarious. But let's kind of expand our scope a little bit to talk about not just AJ himself, but also the OC, because we get a video package on last week's Raw talking about how they had a victory over the Viking Raiders 2 weeks prior to that, and then they had a win over the Viking Raiders with Orton the week before, and that was the one where Orton tweaked his knee the first time. But then the Street Profits come out to interrupt their promo, and I've really, like, my sort of, how do I put this? The stock of the Street Profits in my mind has fallen considerably over the last few months. It's really unfortunate. But Montez asks if it's true that the OC have beaten the Viking Raiders more than once and are recognized as the best tag team in the world, and what that means for them, because they actually beat the OC a few weeks ago. They make fun of the OC being named after a teen drama show and sing the California song that is the intro for the OC, the show, not the team, with Dawkins. And this was another thing, like Dawkins did fucking beatboxing while Montez sang the song, and it was just cringy and unnecessary. And then we got a match, the one on, the 2-on-2, and the Street Profits do win. And then we get a promo later where Dawkins tries to explain the multiverse. And this was Botchamania worthy because either he forgot his line, or in character, the timing was off, and he was supposed to get cut off by Montez, but Montez didn't speak quickly enough, and it just came off as very awkward. But it felt like he forgot his lines. So. Did you actually see this promo with Dawkins trying to explain the multiverse?
Honestly, I missed it, and it sounds like mercifully so.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. He said something about how it has to do with the quantum, and then he just stopped. Like, he just stopped in his tracks, like he didn't know what word was next. And there was like a 5-second pause before Montez picked up, changing the subject and trying to ignore what just happened. It was genuinely painful to watch.
Ooh. That sucks, dude. Because, like,
I said, it could have been like a character moment where it was supposed to be him trying to explain this theoretical physics shit, and Montez just gets bored and interrupts him, but Montez was really late to the draw, if that's the thing. So it was either Dawkins forgetting his line completely, or Montez being really late to the queue. It's a mistake on one of their parts. I just don't know which one.
Right.
The more believable one to me is that Dawkins just forgot his line because he was talking about a bunch of science jibber jabber, and that stuff is I can understand forgetting that line, but learn to fucking improv, bro, for real.
Yeah. I just really fuck me, man. Again, like, not to be a freaking downer, and it just feels like
what, dude? I don't want to talk about this without you having seen it, so I'm gonna try and find it.
Oh, okay.
Angelo Dawkins forgets his line. Is this on YouTube? No, but I think it is on Reddit. So let me see if I can find that streamable link, and I'll send it to you on Facebook, and then you can link it. Here it is. Boom. Oop, y'all heard some clapping, and that was the streamable that I just pulled up. Sending it to John because I want him to see this for himself.
All right.
There you go, bud. We're getting live reactions during a catch-up commentary, y'all. Here we go.
All right, playing this in 3, 2, 1, and I react. Shaking the cup.
Yep.
Oh, we just beat the OC. Bigger than the universe.
Here, you get to see it. Here you go.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, multiverse. What's the multiverse? Oh, don't acknowledge a dry throw, bro. Wow.
He just stopped. He just froze like a deer in headlights.
Yeah. You know what, dude? We already have our front runner. I'm so glad you showed me this because we already have our front runner
for the
Gobbledygook Award, the WTF Award.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Botch of the Year.
I mean, possibly that too, but I got more WTF vibes watching that, bud.
Oh, Lord. I do not.
I'm going to have to remember to record that when we get done here. Yeah, that was awkward. Wow.
Painful to watch somebody go down in flames like that.
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. It's a shame because, like, I really haven't dug much of what Street Profits have done on Raw either, at least on the promo side. You know what I think it is, dude? I think Street Profits for me is kind of what, like, Nikki Cross in NXT was for you. Like, it's just, like, too much going on for me personally, which is funny because I still see a freaking star in Montez. Like, I feel like you put that man in a suit and sunglasses.
I mean, he's a special athlete regardless. And
yeah,
he and his wife have so much in common because they're both these amazing athletes with all this charisma. if they could just get better coaching and actually learn how to wrestle, they would be fucking incredible.
They really, set the world on fire.
Yeah. God, send them to Japan. Seriously. Let Montez go through New Japan's dojo. Let Bianca go through Stardom's dojo. Let them learn the right way. Fuck.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I doubt it'll happen, given that it's WWE.
Oh, it'll never happen. Trust me, it's not happening. It's never going to happen because the WWE is just going to push them regardless of whether they know how to wrestle or not, and they're just going to never learn properly. Maybe it'll take a decade, like it did with the Miz.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, good lord. But yeah, I'm glad you showed me that. I've really got nothing to say. I mean, I wonder if Street Profits will win the Raw tag titles this year. That would be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm thinking.
You know what though? I won't commit to Raw because I wouldn't be surprised if they get shifted over to SmackDown after Mania.
That's right. I mean, we have to think post Mania, shakeups do happen. So we'll have to see what WWE's thinking. But yeah, I think they got tag gold in their future. Whether or not they're ready for it, which I think on one level they are. It's just I'm not digging this writing team. I feel like they were. You know what though? And it does come back to the writing because I did enjoy their stuff in NXT more. Don't get me wrong. I didn't like the what did they call it? Like whatever it was with the Street Profits where they'd have those little vignettes.
Street Talk.
Street Talk. Yeah. I didn't really care for that, admittedly. But like even their promo against Fish and O'Reilly at that contract signing for the NXT tag titles, that was really good shit. So there is something there. I'm not like throwing it out wholesale. Yeah, exactly. I'm not. Didn't expect you to buzz the voice out there. I'm not throwing it out wholesale. It's just, I think for this particular act, as we've had certain acts in wrestling history, like the writing has always got to be on point. Otherwise, some deficiencies to me are going to show themselves. So
I almost wonder if there is like a problem at the systemic level where people in NXT, those writers were there at the ground level for creating and developing those characters. So they're much more intimate with those characters. And then when they get to the main roster, those writers aren't as familiar, aren't as ingrained, aren't as intimate with those characters. So the characters themselves become kind of broad stroke caricatures of themselves.
Yeah.
Because the writers aren't writing for that character, they're writing for their vision of that character, which is more like stereotypical or like broad stroke, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
So it's like, the Street Profits come up and they're just like, oh, these guys are these like rambunctious dudes that party and have a good time. But they didn't know about the NXT stuff where they had to fight and they had to claw and they had to really show that they were capable of being serious fighters when it came down to it. And that the partying and stuff was just what they did on their free time, their spare time.
Right.
So when they have to get down to business, when they have to get serious, they're capable of it. Main roster writers might not know that.
Exactly. All right. I got nothing more to say about this, so if you want to move on, we can.
All right. So yeah, it leads to a triple threat this week. Actually, it was a triple threat tag team title match where it was OC versus Street Profits versus Viking Raiders, and the Viking Raiders retained with Ivar pinning Carl Anderson. So I guess a week after that awful, horrible, painful to watch Montez or Angelo forgetting his words moment. They didn't get punished for it because they were not involved in the winning pinfall the following week. Unless the plan was for them to win the titles prior to that, then they definitely got punished for it, but we'll never know.
Yeah. Solid match. I'm glad Viking Raiders are still the champions. We'll see who they ultimately drop it to. I'm excited to see it all unfold.
Rowan.
Beg pardon?
I said Rowan.
Yeah, let's talk about Rowan. What's going on there, bud?
So the night of Lana's wedding, Rowan was creeping on her, talking about how she doesn't like him because she didn't invite him to the wedding. And, he had a squash match against a guy later that night. He beat him with a jumping splash. The guy didn't even really do anything with the covered cage. But then this week, there was a lot more Rowan because Mojo Rawley stepped to him backstage and asked, "Pretty please, let me take a look what's inside the cage." And Rowan said, "Oh, help yourself. But don't tell anybody." And Mojo looked and freaks the fuck out. And he was like, "What the hell's wrong with you, man?" And he's like freaking out and screaming and stuff. And he smiled, Rowan smiles about it. And then you get another squash match, Rowan beating up another guy. And then afterwards, he starts yelling, "You want to take a look? You want to see what's in there? I'll show ya!" And he shoves the guy's face over the cage. And when the guy pulls away, his face is covered in red, and he's freaking out and he runs away. And the guy's scream was hilarious.
What the fuck is happening?
Like, was that supposed to be blood, or is the Great Muta trapped in that cage, or like or like, is it a portal to another dimension, or is it like one of those fucking beetles that sprays shit? I genuinely, like, I have no clue.
Yeah, as I said, I just want to know what the fuck is happening.
Is it like a severed body part that's freshly severed, so it's still gushing?
Ew.
Yeah. Oh God, maybe. I mean, hell, knowing WWE, that might actually be on point there. So yeah,
I think the important development here is that the WWE is now fully committed to whatever it is in that cage is vile and disgusting and gross.
Yeah.
Like before, it was a complete mystery box. It could have been a bunny rabbit. It could have been, an adorable kitty cat. It could have been, even if we want to stay more like wholesome creepy, it could have been like a doll or something. But no, now they're fully committed. It's fucking disgusting. And that's based on both Mojo's reaction and this.
Yeah. Guess they wouldn't go the interesting angle of Rowan feeling psychologically protected for like a cute puppy or something. No, we're just going full scarring. That's fine. We're
committed at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how that Wii works with the product. Because I don't remember signing up for this, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't know how long this gimmick's gonna last. The funny thing is, like, Rowan's solid enough at what he does, like in the ring and stuff. Like, he really is to me. Not even in the Christian sense. I'd say he's like a lower tier, but he is a good hand if like you want to do the squash matches, build him up a bit, and then have him put some other guy over.
He's like a fucking Mike Knox, Gene Snitsky type guy.
Exactly. You can have him beat maybe one of your
Although
other
I will say
Mike characters.
Knox was even a lot more talented than Rowan.
Yeah. So, but if you're trying to make a main event act out of Rowan,
he really is like a Snitsky. That's like the perfect parallel for him.
Yeah.
How long before Rowan has a fetish?
For all we know, what's in that cage could be his fetish.
There it is. That's the swerve we needed tonight, right there.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm here for, bud. But yeah, if you're trying to make a main event out of this, like,
no,
I'd say I'm sorry, but that's disingenuous. It's not going to happen. It's not. Give up.
What are those lizards that can shoot blood out of their eye?
Oh, I've never even heard of that. That sounds fucking badass, though.
Yeah, lizard that shoots blood out of its eye. Let's see what Google says. There's a name. Horned lizard. It's a horned lizard. It says when a horned lizard feels threatened by a predator, its final defense response is to shoot blood from these flooded sinuses and out of its eye sockets. As a result, the predator is often frightened and flees. So I wonder if it's one of those.
Yeah. Honestly, if Rowan had that, I'd be freaking I'd be like, wait a minute, why isn't that thing competing in the ring? Why is Rowan competing in the ring? This sucks.
What if it's not even one? What if it's just like the cage is just filled with them, and that's why Mojo was so freaked out, because it's like enough to take a person down.
I mean, look, if Rowan was packing one of those, that dinosaur in Jurassic Park that like spewed the fucking
yeah,
like he should have one of those, and that's how he can win every match. Because it's just like it's all intense. Oh, God, my eyes! Roll up, 1, 2, 3, like that. I can get behind that fucking gimmick. I'm like, push that gimmick all the way to fucking Mania. I'll fucking join El Honor Crusade. The Rock couldn't beat that shit. Give me Rowan Rock too. Couldn't beat that dino's ass. Oh man.
God, I forget what that was now. Shit, you're gonna make me Google something else already. I just got done Googling.
Don't put this on me. Remember things better. But says the guy that can't even form words right now.
Dilophosaurus. That's what it was.
There we go.
They didn't actually spit anything in real life, but Jurassic Park has their
What?
liberties.
I'm kind of offended that a movie lied to me. I'm gonna need to process this
I
separately.
mean, dude,
but
they
more
didn't even
importantly-
actually have those like big like neck frills in real life. That was also liberty
What?
from Jurassic Park. Yeah.
God damn it, Jurassic Park! I used you to
The
learn
most
about.
elaborate decoration that Dilos had on their heads was like a couple crests on the top of their head. That's about it.
Wow. I used you to learn about dinosaurs, Jurassic Park. I feel so fucking lied to. God.
I mean, you should have known the instant that you realized or learned that dinosaurs were feathered, that Jurassic Park was just wrong about everything.
Don't you overestimate my intelligence. How dare you? I should have known. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, this main event gimmick isn't going to happen, and
No,
you should
I don't think it's designed
probably
to
give
be a
up.
main event, though. I don't know.
I hope not, man. I really hope not. Because if it is, and you know what, you say that you don't think it is, and I understand why you would say that because you're a sensible human being. But keep in mind, this is also from the same company that brought you Jinder Mahal WWE title reign and other things.
You know what,
So,
sir? I'm gonna need you to just take a step back, turn the volume down from the 9 that you're at to about a 7, and stop personally attacking me.
what with these facts? I guess. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Rowan. And look, if it is just, I will say this, kind of calming it down just a tad. If it is a mid-card act, fair enough. I just don't know why they have to keep giving him weird shit, man. Like, literally, I really feel like his best gimmick was the weird baby face that's like, I want to stand up to bullies now. I'm like, yeah, you do you. You go have
The
that
Vintner.
stairs match. Yeah.
Who hit on Renee that one time?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're a pretty lady.
My God, that voice, Jesus. Okay, I'm good. I've said all I can say about this. What's next?
Low key, that squeak that you just did sounded like the Dilophosaurus in Jurassic Park.
Oh, if only I could spew ink. It was so limited. I know.
No, and it had paralytic properties too. You could paralyze people with.
Yeah, paralyze their face.
Yeah, and blind them too.
Yeah, fuck your vision, bitch. Dinosaur version.
I mean, we talked about the Great Kabuki, the Great Muda earlier. You could learn from them how to blind people with mist.
Dude, you're so right. My Japanese excursion has come.
All right, the next thing that we're going to talk about is we're still talking about the shitty stuff, by the way, in case you guys didn't know. Charlotte. So last week, Charlotte declared her entry into the Royal Rumble and then spent way too long talking about how everyone knew she was going to be in the Royal Rumble, and then talking even more and also way too long about all of her achievements for fucking ever. It was unbearable.
I'm just going to be totally honest with you right now.
You didn't see this, did you?
I've never, no, not that. I've never liked Charlotte, so I'm not going to act like it was very liked, whatever. But now I really have gone to just hating her because it's like her father, Corey Graves, who's an absolute tool. And I'm sorry, I'm starting to question my boy Andrade a little bit. You are so lucky, bro, that you are talented and handsome. Because Jesus Christ, like the fucking ego where Rick is like, oh, I don't think they're using Charlotte properly right now. Like fucking how? Like, how do you want her to be used? And then Corey Graves being like, oh, she feels so relevant. And then, of course, Charlotte chiming in. You know, the funny thing is, they're not wrong.
Yeah, you know what the really funny thing is? It took her about 2.5 minutes to list off all of her achievements in this promo.
Yeah.
She's been wrestling for 5 years, John.
I know.
She's been on the main roster for 4.
Dude, it fucking hurts, man. It fucking hurts. Like, you know, I know, like, one of the greatest jokes in TWitWoW history, the please don't do this to me, which I hold very dear to my heart, but literally when it comes to Charlotte anymore. And yes, I am still salty about TLC and that whole shit, because that just seemed like a fucking failure on every front. Thank goodness for Becky Lynch's competence and Asuka's. Like, fuck Charlotte Flair, man. I'm tired of the overplay. Like, they feel like she's not even being used. I still feel like she's being used too much.
Yeah.
And listen to all these accomplishments. It's like, go away.
But she's not in the title picture, Sean.
Oh, well, and here's the thing: they talk
My
about her in the
response to
title
that
picture.
is good.
Yeah, first of all, double down on that, fam. I'll even do it for good. Yeah, see, I put my back into. Yeah, that felt good.
Ooh, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, but TWitWoW after hours. But no, she's never even elevated the title.
Big boy.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. I was on a more serious point.
I did it in my Maury voice. You want to take this to the bathroom, big boy?
Ooh, give me 5. But no, like she's never even elevated. She's never even elevated the title when she's held it. Like they're talking about, like, oh, when she's not in the title picture. What the fuck has she done in the title
that's
picture?
the thing. There is no amount of logic that will do anything with WWE because their decision to push Charlotte as much as they have isn't based on logic. It's based on nepotism.
Yeah, dude.
Like, if you look at nothing but facts and figures, Charlotte being pushed this far is a bad decision. She isn't a draw. She doesn't sell merch. She doesn't move the TV numbers in a good way. She doesn't get responses from the crowd. We're supposed to like her, and she's at her most hateable right now. There is no fact and no number and no statistic that can possibly support pushing Charlotte continuously the way that they have over the last 4 years. And yet, all that being said, they still gonna do it, baby.
Yeah, it sucks so bad. Everything about this woman just sucks so bad.
And it's funny too, because like you just said earlier, it's not that you don't like her anymore. You have gotten to the point, like me, that you full blown hate her, and she is supposed to be a babyface right now.
I know. Andrade, let me holler at you for a second. Fucking why, bruh? Like, fucking why? Like, my God, dude, let me find out that that Andrade, what's that term? God, there's a term. I'm not going to be able to think of it. I don't want his time on the podcast.
What does the term mean, though?
Well, no, imposter syndrome. I wonder if Andrade doesn't even know how good he is, and it's like an inferiority complex. Like, bruh, let us help you, because I promise you, like, no, no, there's more.
He's just like, I had a good thing going with Zelina, and then Alistair came in and swooped her up, and I just had to get a rebound, and she's got money, and she promised me she'd help me with my English and my push, and maybe she will eventually, but God, she just hasn't yet. She just hasn't.
Bro, if I was Andrade's wingman and he was making a move on Charlotte, I'm just like, bro, no, don't do this. And he just whispered to me, look, she's going to get me the world title. I'd be like, oh, yeah, man, go on, do your business. But no, it ain't going to happen for you.
And then like 6 months pass, and she still hasn't changed his position on the card with all of her politicking power. And he's just like, maybe things will change if I just pop the question. And you're just like, oh, bro, maybe look for a positive sign first. Like, just hold out for a hint. Just a hint that this relationship is going to benefit you at all before you go there.
Yeah, bro, and that being Andrade, look, I just got to level with you. I'd much rather see you tag with Humberto Carrillo than the shovel you're teaming with digging this hole even deeper. Like, get out, bruh. But no, it's fine. I just really, God, I don't like her. And then the worst thing is, we talk about the Women's Rumble now. We will be making formal predictions in a little, let's see. Because if the Rumble's 2 weeks from Sunday, Sunday's the 12th, so then I guess it would be what, the 26th that the Rumble's happening? So yeah, we'll be doing our preview predictions on the 24th, so in 2 weeks. But even looking at the Women's Rumble, if Ronda returns, God, it's going to be like Charlotte and Ronda being fucking pushed. And you know something, Ashton? Oh, and this is another point I wanted to make that I'm glad I didn't forget about. It's fucking Ruby Riot's birthday today, and I even like tweeted at her.
Happy birthday, Dory!
Yeah. Oh God, that's precious. But I even tweeted at her that it'll be great to see you back in the ring. And
did she like
get in your spot? No, I don't think she did, which I don't blame her. But like to me, it's like Ruby isn't even gonna fucking move up higher on the card. She's still going to be that talent that gives the women that are the priority their best matches. A lot like Sasha in a similar way.
Yep, exactly.
And it's a fucking shame because Ruby's so talented. And now what I was excited about, because I'm like, oh, they may actually push Ruby this time. Ain't gonna fucking happen for her. To the point where I'm like, honestly, I don't know how much time they're going to extend on her contract given the injury, but as soon as she could get out, I would leave. She'd probably go to AEW, which sucks worse in its own way because I don't care about AEW at all. But fuck me. Talented women's wrestlers being fed to the Charlotte and Ronda machine, and it's just, and mainly right now Charlotte because this is her segment, and it's like, God damn it, give me something else.
It's the Blonde Express, because it's not even just Charlotte and Ronda anymore. Now, I mean, after Charlotte got done listing all her shit, guess who came out to answer her challenge?
Fucking Natalia, right?
Fucking Natalia. And now on SmackDown, who's running the yard? Lacey fucking Evans. Are you kidding me?
Dude.
Bruh. Who are the three most featured women on SmackDown that aren't the champion? Lacey, Alexa, Mandy.
Yeah, with Dana starting to get featured more too in like a distant fourth, but at least she's more the enhancement talent at least.
Yeah. Sasha is only featured as the champ's friend.
Yeah.
And when Sasha does get matches, she either gets disqualified or loses.
Yeah. This sucks. This fucking sucks. Cause dude, like, God damn it. It's just, these talented women aren't going to get shit done. And it's still going to be the fucking Charlotte
show. And since we had to deal with that Natalia match, which, you know, I'm not even going to talk about any details other than that Charlotte beat her with the figure eight. And I will say, Natalia kicked out of natural selection. Like, and she spent like an inordinate amount of time in the figure eight before tapping. And I'm just wondering why the fuck WWE suddenly cares about Natalia of all people's credibility. But then we get to this week, and this week was almost really, really cool with Charlotte because Sarah Logan was her opponent, and she beat the fuck out of her. But then she got in the ring, and she started swinging her robe around and hitting it onto the mat. And apparently that triggered Charlotte because her daddy gave her that robe, even though she's publicly disowned her father on Raw television before. We're supposed to forget that.
I'm sorry, just the way you recounted that whole thing, and I'm like, yeah, WWE is so on their bullshit, because I even remember that, and Rick's got the tears streaming down his face. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And see, brother, I think that's what makes me the angriest of fucking all, honestly. Because I'm not going to speak for you, you know that. But I can personally, if I numb myself enough and I take myself to my happy place, which used to be Kyrie and will be again when she comes back, which thankfully does seem to be the case. Thank fuck. I could deal, bro. I could deal with your face, with our wonderful, with everything good in my life. I could deal with Charlotte getting her push. I think what pushes me over the edge is when people have the audacity to say that it's not enough. Like, are you fucking dense? This isn't enough?
I mean, if you're asking that question to Corey Graves and Ric Flair and Charlotte themselves, then yes, they are, all of them.
Well, yes, they fucking are. It's just like, what Charlotte has gotten, do you know how much, like, the kind of push Charlotte has gotten would mean to somebody like a Naomi? Which, where the fuck is she? I really miss
how can
Naomi.
the Usos be back and Naomi isn't yet?
Exactly. Like, I miss Naomi.
Because Raw has nothing for her. Unless they kept her on SmackDown, in which case, what you doing, SmackDown?
Dude, I was even... Yeah. Excellent question, by the way. And I was even willing to ride with them on this whole, like, blonde fetish thing. I'm like, you know what? I wish other women would get a turn, but Liv is looking really cool. Let's do it. And then this happened with Liv.
Oh.
And it's like, God
well, yeah,
damn
that's
it.
two other blondes that are overly featured on Raw now, Liv and Lana. I mean, I don't want to put Liv in that category, but she's blonde now and she's in shit storyline now, so.
Yeah, my pain. It hurts
What
so
is
much.
it with Vince and blondes?
Dude, you know what I think makes the pain hurt even worse? And it's kind of like, what was I going to say? It's kind of like this infuriating conundrum because Stardom is so good, but it makes me hate the inadequate WWE stuff with the women that much more because I know it doesn't have to be like this, like at all, at all. Like imagine, dude, with WWE's resources, their money and everything else, if overnight they had an emergency meeting, you know what? We got Sasha, we got Bayley, we got Becky, we got Asuka, we got Kyrie. We've got major fucking players here. Ember, when she comes back, Ruby, Naomi can be a solid mid-carder. Let's just trim some of the fat. And then a lot of the money that we've spent on that, we can buy up all these talents. And think about the fucking women's. We could have our own little mini stardom. And then,
dude, I was even going to say, they don't need to buy shit. Look at NXT. They don't need to buy anyone else. They have all the talent right there.
Yeah, exactly. And then
promote from within.
Your fucking negligence about not even doing an Evolution 2. Like, you could be all over that shit. I'd be clamoring for an Evolution 2. But you know what doesn't make me clamor for an Evolution 2?
Ronda Rousey and Charlotte.
When a Ronda Rousey and Charlotte and those types fucking main event. Because it's like, no. Oh, God, I want to rage.
I mean, so dude, bad. Let's be real. The first Evolution was main evented by Ronda versus Nikki Bella, for fuck's sakes.
Exactly. I hate everything, and it doesn't have to be like this. Doesn't have to be like this. God, and you know, and that's the and one more thing, because this rant's going on way too long, and I'll be the first to admit that, but I just got to get this off my chest because I'm now realizing the depth of my hatred, so it's just giving me a minute to adjust. Corey, Rick, and even Charlotte, even fucking Charlotte, which I hope the reports I heard about her getting a lot of heat after TLC were true, because she needs to be knocked down a fucking peg. She really fucking does.
Multiple.
You consider multiple. Thank you. I'm glad I haven't said anything out of line yet in all my ranting. You consider it a waste of your talents when you're not in the main event. To me, and maybe I'm cheesy and old school.
What does it say about all of the talented women that have come before her that weren't in main events?
First of all, yes, I'm so glad you said that because I wouldn't have even thought to have said it. But what I was going to say was maybe I think too much like a Daniel Bryan, which, God, I wish he was the norm in the industry rather than the exception. Because isn't one of the biggest things you can do in the business, isn't one of the biggest privileges you can have in the business making somebody else? And yet you just want to be on top of the card all the time and not have to worry about anybody that holds you up so that you can be a main eventer? Wasn't it Al Snow that said, if you don't have a curtain jerker, you don't have a main event? Like, if you don't have your jobbers, how do you have, like, your main eventers? You know, everybody on the card matters. And for Charlotte to think that working with people that she would perceive as below the card, on a lower spot on the card than her.
Is
below her. You fucking vapid, talentless. Oh, my God. No. Hold it back.
But, John, she backflips.
Yeah, so does probably everybody else if you give them the time, and they probably do it better than you do.
I bet they actually land on their opponents instead of on their own feet.
Exactly. Dude, it's honestly fucking revolting to me that this woman doesn't even want to work with people without complaining. You know, the people, you know, the fucking tools whose opinions we never even solicited in the first place that say that I'm wasted. They're not wrong. You are a goddamn wrestler that's been given 10 championships, a WrestleMania main event. Use that clout that has been so freely given to you thanks to the power of the pencil and fucking make somebody and be happy about it.
Thanks to the power of your daddy's cum.
Oh, Jesus. But I mean, you're not wrong. And that's the thing, because, and here's where I don't want to be fully mean, but I got to take the gloves off and I got to be honest. She has said in multiple interviews, oh, I did this because this was my brother's Reed's dream and he never got to live it. That's my fucking problem with you, Charlotte, because here's the thing. I won't go after that you grieved and you wanted to do something nice for a loved one that you lost. I understand that pain. I'm not so fucking low and such a piece of shit that I'm going to go after that. What I will go after, it's one thing to do one tribute, one thing. Sooner or later, you got to move on with your life and you have to heal. And it's keeping you here when, to me, you're clearly not good at it. I know that's an opinion I'd get eviscerated for elsewhere. But more importantly, even if you'd want to debate whether she's good or not, like, if that was your reason for doing it, your heart's not in this. And it shows me your heart's not in this when immediately the main events stop, when the championships stop and you lose interest. That's not passion. That's convenience. That's not fucking passion. And that pisses me off. Because whatever it is, whether it's wrestling, sports, academics, there are people that for fucking years, their whole careers, never get to taste the kind of success as some of their peers do. In this case with wrestling, there are women, Charlotte, that are more talented than you, that'll never even taste one women's championship, let alone 10. And you have this smugness and this superiority complex where you have the audacity to say, after all the championships, the WrestleMania spot, beating Asuka's streak, that it's not enough. And it just tells me you don't love this business. You only love the comforts and the convenience that this business can afford you and a potential life after wrestling. And it fucking angers me because I hate nothing more on this planet than passionless fucking people. And that's how you wrestle, that's how you talk, that's how you conduct your life as a goddamn performer, is this entitled, privileged, passionless fucking waste. And you know something? And this is where I'm going to maybe take a cheap shot here. I can appreciate your grief. I can appreciate your pain. But do you think if Reed got to live his dream, he would have been this bad? Maybe he would have been. We'll never know. But I'd like to think that if he really wanted to do this, he would have actually cared about doing this. So maybe if you really wanted to do his memory right, maybe make all the people that he never got a chance to make because he never got to live the dream. Maybe be thankful for every fucking match, whether curtain jerk or main event, because he never got to have the matches that he wanted, because that's what a tribute is, right? But I'm starting to even think that maybe it wasn't even really about that. Maybe it was just easy for you. Maybe athletics, when you talk about how good you were at volleyball, maybe that would have been too hard because nobody cares about what your name is. They only care about what you can do on the court. But here, because of your father's connections, you can coast. You can make legacy without even giving one drop of sweat for it. And I know the stands would be like, but Charlotte's done this and that. Well, okay, let's see what she's done. She contributed to Kairi's injury. She almost killed Sasha. She botches regularly. She's a horrible promo. I can't think of one time she's made the title prestigious. I can't think of one talent she's fucking made. And you want to sit here and act like the business, the fucking business where women are grinding right now on the indies that could only hope to have 1/4 of your push, are having matches and bangers and great promos and inspired characters. And you get to do this, the bare fucking minimum, and be given the world, and you say, no, I don't want the world, I want the universe. And then you're given the universe, and you want something beyond the universe, which I guess to quote Dawkins, the multiverse. And it'll never be enough for you. And it makes me fucking sick, and I hate I've wasted all this time on this rant for something that everybody should already know, but I finally figured out why I hate you. And it's because you don't give a fuck about this. You never have. You never will. And you just want to get what you can out of this business, get the fuck out, and everybody else can drown for all you care. And that's not the business I believe in. Because I've seen what guys like Daniel Bryan, who, my God, let's not even talk about how much more talented he is than you. I've seen what he does with his clout, gave us fucking Kofi Mania WWE champion. And you can't even be bothered to push somebody that isn't even in your little inner circle, that you consider it a waste? Get the fuck off my TV, get the fuck out of this business, figure out what the hell you want to do with your life that you'd actually have a modicum of talent at, and leave us the fuck alone. We don't want you here, we don't need you here, because I promise you, you walk out that door in the first 5 seconds, the next 5 I forget about you, and then in the other 5, we find somebody to take your spot. Because you're nothing. Chelsea Green, because you're nothing. You're nothing, Charlotte. You're nothing. All you are is a catchphrase that your father did better every time he got on a microphone, and a last name that you don't even live up to. That's all you fucking are. That's my fucking rant. I'm sorry I took up that much time, but dude, I'm getting so sick of this fucking woman and everything she represents, because we watch Stardom on the regular, and I am watching amazing, talented women, even women on the undercard again, like Saki recently, doing amazing stuff. And then I have to go here, and we have to talk about this when she should be the furthest fucking thing from a priority. I'm tired of it.
Imagine if Charlotte actually had to go to the Stardom Dojo and train the way they train. She would not last a fucking week.
She'd break down and cry, and she'd wonder why she isn't being given the World of Stardom title right away. It's ridiculous.
Bro, she wouldn't even debut. Like I said, she wouldn't last a week. They would break her down to the point that she would quit the fucking business.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
seen their protests. We've seen the shit that they get put through. Charlotte doesn't have that in her. She doesn't have the desire. She doesn't have the willpower. She doesn't want it enough.
Yeah. She doesn't. She doesn't. Like, I don't know. I don't know. All right, what
I mean,
came
hell,
after
if
this?
we're replacing Charlotte just with the purpose of finding somebody else that can do a pretty backflip, fuck, man, Bianca could do that. Bianca could probably do anything Charlotte could do except better.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that I completely.
I mean,
agree
we
with.
know Bianca can cut better promos than Charlotte. We have no questions about that. But
I think even Charlotte on some level knows it because, like, she's even said that she really likes Bianca. She's probably thinking, "Oh God, finally, when I'm ready to get out of wrestling, there will be somebody that could just slide right into my spot." Which at least then I could fucking tolerate a lot better because again, Bianca's more talented than Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to come around on Bianca, just in the sense that, like, I don't blame her for her sort of slow progress as far as actually wrestling goes, because it's more like she's more the victim of it because it's just the PC is just garbage.
Yeah, yeah.
The PC is out here teaching people how to run fast, how to jump high, how to lift heavy weights, how to, they're teaching people, how to pay attention to the cameras and where the cameras are and that kind of stuff. But they're not really doing a good job of teaching anyone how to actually wrestle, and that's the problem. And that's not Bianca's fault. So I like the more I see of Bianca, she's this amazing athlete. She could be a fucking Olympian if she wanted to be. Unironically, Bianca Belair could be an Olympic athlete if she wanted to be. And I'm not even trying to exaggerate here. She's straight up that fucking good. And she's got all this charisma. She's got all of the pieces that you could ever want in a female wrestler, in any wrestler. And she wants this too. Like, she's in this for every, like, she
makes her own gear, dude. Like,
yeah,
she's
exactly.
So
she's passionate about this. She's in this for the good and the bad, through the good and the bad. She's in this because she wants to be here, and the PC is failing her because they're not teaching her how to wrestle in a way that is compelling. They're teaching her how to wrestle an old, boring style. Shit, man, she should go to fucking Osprey's school. She should go to Osprey's school, learn how to wrestle that style. She is one of the only women in the world that could.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, crazy, I'm really starting, like, I don't know if I'll ever be a Bianca Belair fan just because I like wrestlers and I like people that put on amazing matches, and I really haven't really seen one from Bianca yet. But, I'm more of a fan of the person than the performer at this point, which is weird for me because I'm usually the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Yeah. So what came after this?
Well, we're still on the Charlotte thing because of the whole. Actually, no, we already talked about the Sarah Logan stuff, so we can move on. Let's get to the actual good stuff that's happened on Raw over the last 2 weeks. Feels like we.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, we've spent over an hour and a half already just talking about the bad shit that's happened on Raw over the last 2 weeks. So let's get to the good. Last week, Becky cut a promo talking about her match with Asuka. She feels like she's been in handcuffs ever since she became the Golden Goose, and she wants to wipe the record clean. Then this week, she cut another promo doubting herself. And this, honestly, to me, this week's promo from Becky Lynch is the most that I have liked Becky Lynch since probably before she lost to Asuka in the Royal Rumble last year, or at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view last year. Because she was genuinely vulnerable here. She said she's been doubting herself and whether her forcing the Brass to make her match with Asuka was even a good call. She's starting to regret, forcing their hand. We get a recap of Asuka beating her at the Rumble last year, and then Asuka interrupts, talks a bunch of shit in Japanese, and then gets into the ring, and as she's about to start talking again, Becky punches her in the fucking throat and walks away, and that's it.
Damn. Yeah, Becky getting down to business, man. I'm so excited for this rematch. I'm so ready for it. I think these women are going to have a freaking classic. That's the thing, man. I wish I was more hyped about the men's Rumble match because really the card, for the most part, I am pretty psyched for, with a few exceptions. And Becky, Asuka are definitely doing it for me right now. Just good shit from both these women. And Becky's really building Asuka up. So I love that. I really appreciate that from her. I'm starting to come back around on her, which is why I think she's maintained her spot for so long, and I commend her for it. And yeah, I just hope that they have a great match. So that's all I got to say about that, really.
All right, so we can get to one of the two, ongoing angles on Raw that I would consider very good. Drew McIntyre is being kind of built up, and it feels kind of like they're slowly turning him face. Last week, he cut a promo on his way to the ring in a match that was going to be him versus Ryder and Hawkins in a 2-on-1 handicap match. And I love Lawler had a line here. It's like, oh, you say it's 2-on-1, but let's be real, it's more like 1-on-2. And Drew cuts a promo on his way to the ring about this match supposedly putting him at a disadvantage, but then he calls himself, oh yeah, that's what it was. When he was referring to himself, when he was talking about how he was supposed to be at a disadvantage, he did refer to himself as the sexy Scotsman. And I loved that. That was hilarious. But he was still kind of heelish here. But then he held like a poll and he got a cheap pop. He named a town and everything. And then he asked the crowd who they think who thinks Drew should be worried about this match, and then who thinks that Hawkins and Ryder should be worried. And the crowd cheered pretty much for the two guys being worried. And then Drew squashed them, and there was a cool moment where he did a 3-2-1 countdown before Claymore kicking Hawkins' head off, and then he hit a future shock DDT on Ryder and pinned them both at the same time for the win. And then this week we got Drew versus No Way Jose, and Jose came out first, and then Drew came out and immediately headbutted one of the conga line people, chucked another one into the barricade, and then slid into the ring. He got the upper hand on Jose and then went to the outside and grabbed a guy from the conga line, chops him, then hits him with a reverse Alabama slam on the apron, and then gets back in the ring again, hits the future shock DDT on Jose and does the 3-2-1 countdown and the Claymore and wins. And then after the match, he gets on the mic and does another cheap pop, Oklahoma City! Who dares me to hit one more Claymore kick? Who double dares me? And then he does another 3-2-1 countdown and hits another Claymore kick on Jose. We got a one more time chant from the crowd. And then he gets up and he's still got the mic and he didn't even drop the mic. Thank you very much. And he talked about how he's never even had a shot at a world title and about how it's such a travesty. So he inserts himself into the Royal Rumble. And he talks about how everyone he's going to have to go through and talks about Brock and stuff like that. And then he has this line at the end where he says, when it's all said and done, there can only be 3, 2, 1. And it's like, I think it's supposed to be this epic thing, but I think that he could have had a better delivery to really frame it. Like, rather than there can only be 3, 2, 1, he should have been like, there can only be, and then with his fingers do 3 and 2, and then out loud vocally say 1. So that it's like, we're still doing the countdown thing, but the sentence itself still only says, there can only be 1. That makes more sense to me. The way that he did it didn't. I don't know if that's on him or if that's on the writers or maybe a little of both because he could have improvised there. But at the end of the day, they're trying new stuff with Drew. Some of it's hitting, some of it's missing. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad that they're doing stuff with him.
Bro, I'm the same way. I'm glad that they're giving him talking time because I do think Drew's a great promo. He's got a natural charisma to him to me. And this Drew, the one that's kind of like dominant but having fun with being dominant and showing personality while dominating, like this is a guy I want to see share the ring with Brock Lesnar and Claymore kick his fucking head off, so I definitely want to see more of this. And yeah, I hope we do get to see more of it, and I hope this does signal a face turn for him because I think that's a Drew McIntyre that's really going to make big things happen in 2020. One can only hope. So, yeah, I loved all of this. I got nothing more to say than that. So if you want to move on, we can.
All right, then let's talk about the only thing that's been on Raw the last 2 weeks that we haven't talked about yet, and that is this whole Rey Mysterio Andrade storyline. Last week, Rey called Andrade the better man on that night, referring to the Madison Square Garden show where Andrade beat him for the U.S. title, and that he still got his eyes on Seth in the AOP, but... and then he talks to Seth and AOP and says, I didn't start this, but I promise you at the end of it all, I'm going to be the one standing tall. Then we get Andrade versus a jobber. Andrade gets all of his shit in, but then he's getting ready to hit the hammerlock DDT, and Zelina suggests he do it to the guy on the exposed concrete like what he did to Carrillo. Ricochet shows up, cuts a cringy-ass promo talking about how much of a legend Rey Mysterio is, and challenges Andrade to a match, which we get. If I remember correctly, Andrade did win that. For some reason, I don't have it in my notes. But then this week, we got a Rey promo thanking Dominic for convincing him to stay. It says that he's going to beat Andrade for the U.S. title tonight, and we get that match. Before we even talk about the match itself, though, can I just say I fucking despise Jerry Lawler's commentary during Andrade matches because he doesn't call him Andrade. He calls him Andrade.
Ooh.
How many times do Vic Joseph and whoever the hell else is on? I guess it's only Vic Joseph now that Joe's not on the table anymore. But how many times does Vic Joseph have to say Andrade for Lawler to get the fucking hint?
Yeah, you'd think he would have gotten it by now, but it's just it's not clicking. I mean, Lawler hates this job anyway, so maybe he's just trying to get fired.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, Ray's stuff was fine. I love that Andrade's U.S. champ. Let's keep that fucking going, baby. Champion forever, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I look forward to them. I mean, they had this match. I don't think the feud's over by a long shot. I see a lot more matches between these two in the future, and just everyone is quality, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was even going to say, what did you think of this match that they had this week?
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. I think.
Really?
I mean, it wasn't their best outing, but I just think every time they kind of mix it up together, I approve of it. So I'm good with it. But I hope.
Are you 100% sure that you even saw the match from this week, dude?
Maybe I'm confusing it with something else. Why? What exactly happened? Walk us through it.
It was just overbooked to fuck, dude. Like, there was a moment when Ray hit the flip pile driver on Andrade, and the ref counted 1, 2, and then Lena put Andrade's foot on the rope, and the ref still went 3, and the bell rang, and the ref was like, no, I just saw his foot was on the rope, and they restarted the match. So Ray beat Andrade, but they restarted the match so that didn't count. And then there was this fucking spot on the outside where Ray was going for a Rana on Andrade, and Andrade caught him and then did like an alley-oop to Ray, but the Zelina was behind him. So Ray fell into Zelina, and there was this whole big hubbub about, oh, Ray ran into Zelina. Zelina's down. She's hurt, whatever. And they both get into the ring, and Andrade's about to do the hammerlock DDT, and then fucking John Cohn, the referee, separates them, like pulls Andrade off of Ray, and looks like he's checking on Ray, but then he throws Ray out of, like, not literally, but rolls Ray out of the ring, and Ray is, like, looking at Zelina, like, he's got this sympathetic look on his face, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I have a wife too, like, this is terrible, and Andrade is just chilling in the ring, confused as fuck as to what's going on right now, and then Ray eventually gets back in the ring, and Andrade hits him with a hammerlock DDT and wins anyway. Like, it made no fucking sense. I don't understand what the hell they were trying to do here.
Maybe, because, you did say the promo prior with Ray, he was like thanking Dominic for staying. Maybe this is going to be like a forced retirement thing so that Ray can't even leave on his own terms. He was about to leave on his own terms until Dominic told him not to. And now maybe they're doing like a forced retirement angle, which I fucking hate these, if that is the case.
Well, dude, they're not doing any retirement. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm just saying, because if Ray was like that spaced and Andrade hit the hammerlock DDT, because it seemed like, it was like Ray injured or whatever, and then all of this.
Well, it seemed like that, but when Cohn rolled him out of the ring, Ray was like, he was with it. He was talking. He was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Like he was like checking on Zelina, and he was like, I've got a wife. Like I was so fucking confused by what they were going for here. It's like, for some reason, Ray didn't get enough sympathy from the crowd. Like he didn't show that he felt bad enough from the crowd. Like, I don't even know how to describe this. I wish you would have seen it though, because it was genuinely confusing and frustrating, and I wanted somebody to talk about it with.
Well, yeah, because I know that Andrade ripped Ray's mask off. Like, that was a big
That was
thing
after the match, though, and then he kind of offered it to Zelina, like, oh, hey, here you go, I got this for you. But yeah, like, the finish of the match is just so fucked.
Yeah, like, I'm watching their clip now just to kind of recap, because I knew about the mask, and I thought that was a big deal, which is one reason why I approved it, because they're just escalating.
They're probably, well, if it's on WWE's YouTube channel, they probably cut the shit that was weird. They always.
Yeah, let's see. Because, yeah, I'm even seeing Cohn here, the referee, calling something off. There's the elbow by Andrade there. Yeah, there's the foot on the rope, because I'm kind of fast-forwarding. Yeah, there's Cohn's confusion, so they're doing that. Yeah. So this whole thing. Okay, so then I guess the match restarted, and then they're doing this. Wow, okay. So, yeah, like you said, just like a lot of confusion here, it seems. And then, yeah, he's down. Andrade beats him up. Yeah. And that is interesting. That's definitely interesting. I don't know, man. I don't know what they were going for either, looking at it. But all I know is that Andrade got Ray's mask. We know that that's a big thing in Lucha Libre, like the disrespect. So hopefully that gets Andrade a good bit of heel heat, at least. I would hope. Falls are saying apparently there were quite a few botches. I mean, Ashton's retelling of it certainly sounds like that. But I guess the big angle here is he beats Ray, takes the mask, and now I guess we're going to escalate it. So I don't know if it's going to be like
because later on in the night, later on in the night, we had this thing where Andrade was being interviewed, and he had Ray's mask, and he was starting to talk shit in Spanish. But then, Ray attacked him, and he from behind we could only see his bald head because he wasn't wearing his mask, and we know that it was him because he was still wearing the Raid gear. He attacks Andrade and beats the shit out of him. Zelina was freaking the hell out. She was like, "No, Ray, no, get off of him, no!" And Ray took his mask back and put it on, and he actually ended up taking the U.S. title belt as well from Andrade and ran away. So Ray got his mask back and took Andrade's U.S. title, and we didn't get anything else that night. So we're probably going to get more information on what Ray is doing with the U.S. title on Monday.
Yeah. I'm wondering if this is going to culminate in like a mask versus title matchup.
Yeah.
I
mean, the
really
instant Andrade took Ray's mask off, it seems like that's where they're heading.
Yeah, that's the vibe that I got as well. So I'm hoping that's where it goes because that's actually really exciting. If not, I guess I'll keep an open mind, but we'll have to see where it goes. But yeah, definitely a more confusing night. I still don't completely hate it because I just feel like I can't outright hate like anything these guys do. I just enjoy it. I do think they have good chemistry. But I guess we could chalk this up to an off night because even looking at the footage, you can see where like the overbooking and stuff like that. But at least they got the mask off, and I think that's a positive.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it was an off night for the guys. It was just an off night for the booking.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fucking... Like, I want to know what Vince's vision of this segment was. What he, in his mind, saw that was supposed to happen so that I would know, like, who fucked up. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I'd love to know that too, because this is just a case where I don't think any of us really have our finger on the pulse of like what the fuck was supposed to be the point here.
Because it was so bizarre that it's hard to even know what they were going for.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's all I can say about it. I am excited though to see where this escalates because Ray clearly got tired of the shit, but Andrade's like feeling himself being a champion, which I'm feeling Andrade feeling himself. So yeah. I'm still enjoying it, and we'll see where it goes.
All right, let's move on to SmackDown, brother. Let's move on to SmackDown. We've got some not as great shit to start. It's not terrible. The only real terrible stuff we actually let's just talk about the worst shit first, because there's enough good on SmackDown that it'll mask the bad stuff. And it's really unfortunate that we're even starting with this because it should be, some of the best stuff on WWE TV. But God, they're really like leaning into toxicity sometimes. So last week, Sasha and Bayley came out, and Bayley cut a promo trashing the crowd. And Lacey and Dana interrupted with Lacey standing up for the crowd. And then Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross came out, and Bliss didn't even know why they were in this match. And Nikki was just like, "Oh, let's just try and prove ourselves as a tag team so we can get back into the tag title picture." And we got a three-way tag team match. Lacey at one point hit a woman's right on Sasha, and then Dana hit her with a swanton bomb and won the match. So Dana Brooke pinned Sasha Banks last week. And then this week, we got Lacey versus Sasha was supposed to happen, but Bayley showed up on the Titantron and said Sasha's MIA. And she did this whole thing, like, let me put this in terms that you can understand, because, Lacey's a former Marine. And then Lacey's pandering. Holy fucking shit. Lacey's pandering on this episode of SmackDown is genuinely the worst thing that has happened on either episode of SmackDown we're reviewing tonight. I fucking hated it.
Yeah, it was awful. It was absolute. Like, you know what's funny, dude? I wanted to tweet this. I didn't. So I guess I'll just say it here. Like, Lacey's pandering and just the presentation of her whole character on this show confirmed for me without a shadow of a doubt that I probably really wouldn't have liked wrestling in the 80s. Because this just felt so 80s to me. Like, the overly patriotic character that's just very... like bare bones, nothing to it, but just the patriotism and, America, yeah, heart of America.
And not only that, but you've got a crowd chanting USA in a feud where it's a white woman versus two brown women.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that, like, Sasha and Bayley were both born and raised in the USA. The crowd's just fucking racist. Or at least that's fast, even if they're not going for that.
Yeah, brother, have you ever watched an episode of Glow on Netflix?
No.
Because there's like a character there named Liberty Bell. Yeah. who's a lot like Lacey, but in my opinion, better. Like, because even though I didn't get as much wrestling from Glow like the season as I would have liked, they didn't really focus much on like the in-ring business aspect. The stuff where you see Liberty Bell cutting promo and like working in the ring, I'm like, yeah, I actually prefer that to this because there's actually more of a charisma there than this. This was bad. This was really cringe. I didn't care for it at all. And yeah, I was really glad when we just moved on from it because I'm like, please, literally anything else, just get this off. Like, just stop this from happening. So yeah, it's just a shame that Lacey's going to continue to be pushed because she's not doing herself any favors. And apparently her Twitter game sucks as well. I've been seeing her get dogged on Twitter more lately. And she had this video where I don't know if she killed this chicken or what, but it's also apparently the cage she puts her daughter in when she misbehaves. So, great parenting. And yeah, just the whole thing's a clusterfuck, dude. It's really bad.
Jesus Christ. I didn't know about any of that extracurricular shit.
Yeah, well, you do now, friend. Welcome to the club.
But yeah, Lacey's whole pandering was because of the whole USA and that she's a Marine and all that shit, and it's just terrible. And then she actually tells Bayley straight up to defend the SmackDown Women's title against her here tonight. And Bayley's just like, I'm not your snot-nosed kid, so I don't have to do that. And then Lacey drops a mic and goes to attack Bayley, but Bayley was waiting for Lacey and beats her up. But then as she's walking away, Lacey, the pure-blood babyface that she is, gets up and attacks Bayley from behind. And then swings for the woman's right, but Bayley ducks it. And then we get security showing up and everything gets pulled apart. And that's the last that we see of either one of these women. Which, I love Bayley, but thank Christ this is the last that we see of Lacey for the night.
Yeah. God, what a waste of Bayley right now.
Oh, dude.
What a
how
waste
are they going to use Lacey
now.
Evans to waste 2 of the 4 Horsewomen's title runs?
Dude.
She burned Becky's first 3 months of her run, and now they're using her on fucking Bayley.
It's just so maddening.
Imagine looking at Lacey Evans and being like, you know what? You're a main eventer. And then looking at all of these amazing women in NXT, Io and Mia and Shayna and Rhea and fucking Bianca and Candice even, for fuck's sakes. Since, we're talking about a heel character here, Candice would be perfect. And being like, nah, fam, give me Lacey.
Yeah, it's rough, man. I ain't gonna lie. It's rough. I can't even believe that because, Lacey's tagging with fucking Dana, right? And they're doing the thing. I still can't even believe that Dana pinned fucking Sasha. I get, because I hear from people, oh, she's been working so hard and, she's been putting the time in. You can work really hard at something. Sometimes things just aren't going to click for you. I just don't like Dana Brooke personally. I don't think she has the talent to carry the mileage that beating someone like Sasha Banks should give you. I don't see it. And yet Sasha's the one doing the fucking jobs. Why? Why? I really wanted her in Stardom, dude. I really wanted Sasha in Stardom so fucking bad. And I see this and I'm like, well, this is what we get instead. Isn't that fucking great? And then the Lacey stuff, just to circle back to that. Fuck me, man. Because you know what, dude? Honestly, she's not that bad in ring. So I'm like, oh, her title reign may not even be that bad, all things considered. But if these are the promos we can expect, kill me. Kill me right now. I don't want to deal with this, man. What came after this?
I was gonna say, I really don't know what's more infuriating. The fact that we're getting this U.S. Marine pandering bullshit, or the fact that they're seriously going to waste another month or two of Bayley's world title run, SmackDown Women's title run, on Lacey Evans.
Yeah. These women are on top of their game with the pros and everything else, and you're really just gonna waste all that for fucking Lacey and fucking Dana and all them, because they have other options, don't they? They have to have other options. I know Ember's injured, but I
just listed a bunch of options. They don't have to, they could go to NXT for their options. Seriously, there is no shame in being like, oh hey, Toni Storm, or oh hey, Candice LeRae, or oh hey, Mia Yim. There are so many great babyface women in NXT. They could be like, hey, we're going to have you debut on SmackDown tonight, and We're going to put you in a program with Bailey, and you're going to put on fucking banger matches at pay-per-views so that we can build towards Bailey and Sasha at WrestleMania. And it's like, oh man, that's way better than Bailey having to defend against Lacey.
Yeah, it is, dude. Yeah, it fucking is. But this is what we get. Because I really feel like their blueprint is we want to make Lacey. I mean, maybe I'm being hyperbolic. I feel like they'd like to make her the face of the brand. You know, just because of the look and the patriotism and everything else. They really want to get behind her. And it's just a shame. It's just because Sasha's right there. And what did we say, though? And especially because excuse me, I feel like this is what you said to me. Because who is, what's the guy's name? Is it Kevin Dunn that's behind SmackDown?
Bruce Pritchard.
That's it. Bruce Pritchard, who loves the blondes, and fucking Lacey, ready to just do the fucking program and become the champion. Because, Sasha, I guess he's not keen on her. And I guess that lumps Bailey in because they're ride or die with each other, which fucking sucks. Not their friendship, but the idea that Bailey might be getting punished for that. Like, oh, we don't have any interest in you either. And yeah, I know they're like touting she's the longest reigning, SmackDown Women's Champion, like with combined days. But again, much like Kofi, because Kofi got a nice reign with the WWE title, it's all about how it ends and like who it makes when it ends. Kofi made a guy that didn't even need to be made, or put over a guy that didn't even need to be put over, and Brock Lesnar, because he's fucking Brock Lesnar.
Right.
And is Bailey going to have to put over Lacey Evans, who I feel like has all the time in the world to be what WWE wants her to be? Can't we just have these talented women have their moment in the sun? Can't we just let that happen? But I guess the answer is no. And it's just really sad.
Fuck. Why is this so depressing right now?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'd like to get on to some good stuff. Do we have any?
That was really the only thing about SmackDown either week that pissed me off, so I think we can move on. Let's talk about Braun Strowman, because last week he beat Cesaro, and then this week he beat Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah. Braun Strowman working his way up. He wants the Intercontinental title.
And he beat the Intercontinental Champion, and he did it despite a fuck ton of interference, too.
Yeah, so he's dominant as fuck. I really don't know how you book Nakamura to kind of retain the title here at this point. It seems like kind of a given that Strowman
disqualify himself, maybe?
I get, but then you figure, unless I'm thinking too much like Japanese logic, like, oh, wouldn't that just necessitate a rematch? And then we get into a circular loop, but they don't care. They don't care. So maybe they will do that. Maybe they just will do the disqualification. But I was even going to say, that's always been the logic I've had about Braun anyway when he competes for the world title. Like, oh, yeah, he has to win, right? He's so dominant. How can he be stopped? Well, then he gets stopped, like every fucking time. So yeah. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I enjoyed these matches. I'm excited about Braun and Shinsuke having an Intercontinental Championship match. I think it should be good shit.
Such good shit. Damn it.
Hell yeah.
All right. So next up, let's talk about Elias. So last week he had a song where he said, "New year, new me. I have so many hopes for 2020. I hope Sami Zayn gets punched in the jaw, and if Shane McMahon returns, please send his ass to Raw. Revival needs to change. Oh, that's a fact. They're harder to watch right now than Dolph Ziggler's comedy act. And if Baron Corbin went missing, I wouldn't complain. That guy's like an STD. He just won't go away." That didn't rhyme, by the way, Elias. And then there was a great point here, too, where he was like talking about the STD wouldn't go away, and then he just stopped. And he pointed at a guy in the crowd and said, "This guy knows."
Damn.
And then he finished it with, "But not all hope is lost. And you will see at Royal Rumble when everybody walks with me." So, I'll give that an 8.5 out of 10. It was a strong song, but there was the one little flub where he didn't rhyme. He made up for it by doing the point to the crowd thing, though. Good shit.
Yeah, Elias, he's got it all fucking figured out. I enjoyed this. Great presence. It always helps that he actually genuinely plays that guitar in a way that I legitimately find pleasing and entertaining. So, yeah. I thought this was entertaining shit from him. I enjoyed it. Shame he's not going to win the Rumble, but he does talk a good game, though. He talks a really good game.
Then this week, I didn't write down all the exact lyrics again, but I did just write down the general idea of what he sang. He sang about winning the Royal Rumble. He took shots at the Lana Lashley storyline. Talked about how awful a sex tape with them would be, although I'm sure plenty of people would love to see it. Talks shit about Brock Lesnar actually, and then says that he is going to win the Royal Rumble and come for Brock. So we know that if Elias does win the Royal Rumble, we know which champion he's targeting.
God, honestly, at this point, if Elias won the Rumble, I'd probably have a pretty significant pop. I'd be
I
like,
would pop
wow.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fucking amazing.
My mom would lose her shit.
I was even about to say we don't have to ask certain members of the audience if they would pop, but that's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah,
but
she would lose it.
Yeah, I'll just say right now, it's not happening. He's probably going to fail in very entertaining
Thank you
fashion.
for at least letting her down easy.
Yeah, that's what I do best. But again, he talks some real good shit. So it's all you can ask for.
That's the thing that he's best at for sure, is talking.
All right, next.
Let's talk about the Revival, because last week they talked about how dumb of a gimmick the Miracle on 34th Street fight is, and they want SmackDown to put some respect on the Revival's name. Talking about how they got Elias making fun of him, and then Shorty G shows up and tell him, "Oh hey, don't worry about Elias making fun of you guys. Just embrace who you are. I've got a new motto: rise over size. When you're comfortable in your own skin, you can do anything." And then Wilder's just like, "Oh yeah, well how about if you take on one of us in a singles match?" And it ends up being Gable versus Wilder. Wilder taps to Shorty G's ankle lock within minutes. But then Dawson attacks him after the bell, and we get a shatter machine. And then Sheamus' music hits, and he comes out, chases the Revival off, and hits a brogue kick on Shorty G. And then this week, he cut a promo on Shorty G, talking about how soft and weak he is.
I mean, honestly, no offense to Gable, but you recounting that promo and that voice you did, I'm thinking like, wow, what a fucking nerd. He probably had it coming.
Dude, I'm sorry. I tried so hard not to make him sound like TJ Perkins. This is what he comes off as to me now. He just comes off as such a fucking geek.
And he shouldn't be, though, man, because he's so, like, we know how legit it is. Yeah.
You made the Olympian into a geek, WWE. There is some real talent there, and not the good kind.
I feel like that laugh that you just had is just like you just like almost like a little mini break. Like, yep, this is their life now. This is just how things work. I'm rolling with it. The Olympian's a joke. All right, let's do it.
Oh man, I feel like you just channeled your inner me so well that you almost had to feel that on a spiritual level.
Yeah, hell yeah. Called the shit out of Sheamus bro kicking his face off.
You did, yeah, because we live reacted to that SmackDown, and you 100% saw it coming.
And I even said, dude, they're gonna do the same thing they did when he returned on Dolph Ziggler, and it was practically a shot-by-shot remake.
Yep.
And then the promo this week, I mean, not bad. He's definitely feeling himself. I'm still curious about what Sheamus can offer, if he's going to be bringing anything new. I mean, working with Gable is like the first guy back.
I feel like Sheamus and new is a paradox.
Yeah, you're probably right. But
Sheamus is like the stalest wrestler around.
If you're going to bring him back into the fold, I do think that that Gable is the perfect opponent to do it with.
Really?
Because I think he sold the bro kick great, sold it like fucking death. I think he'll make Sheamus' stuff look good, getting ragdolled while still also being maybe semi-competitive.
I was going to say, but who cares how good Sheamus' stuff looks? He's a fucking old guy.
Well, yeah, but WWE does, and that's kind of what we're talking about. I mean, even if we don't agree with it, they obviously want his stuff to look good because he's back in the fold. You're only sighing because I'm right.
No, I'm sighing because it's just another brick in the wall of WWE's garbage.
Yeah, it is. But, again, it's about getting Sheamus back into the swing of things. Gable will be that quality enhancement talent, to get Sheamus reestablished to the crowd and to everybody. And it's a shame, because I feel like Gable should be getting his own push. Like, honestly, nothing against Strowman. I would be loving.
And besides, who's this giggity Gable fella that we've been talking about? All I know is Shorty G.
I want to die. All right. So, yeah, Shorty G.
A mutual feeling at this point.
Yeah, Shorty G.
We can die together, bud.
Yeah, that sounds great. Shorty G. Wow, you're really feeling yourself. That's okay.
No, John, it's called delusions.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that.
I need something to get me through the day.
But yeah, like if Shorty G was feuding with Nakamura right now, I'd honestly be here for it. But he's not. He's fodder for Sheamus. So just to remind everyone, you can't have dreams. Vince can have dreams. You can't have dreams. You haven't earned the right.
You're too poor for dreams.
Yeah, exactly. So either up your tax bracket, and not with Monopoly money either, like Javaris. Sorry, Javaris, I had to. I'm giving everybody the business tonight. But you know, maybe there's an oil field in your backyard or something, and then you can have dreams. Until then, no, this is what you get. So that's what we got. Unless you jump ship and you're like, screw it, I'm gonna watch New Japan and Stardom full time, which you absolutely should do. You know, and of course NXT. I'd still give NXT your support. But yeah, other than that, fuck all this. So,
but do it illegally so that you're not supporting the network.
Yeah, down with them and down with the corporation.
The network or the fucking network ratings, you know, like USA Network ratings. They don't deserve it.
Exactly. So, what came after this, bud?
Not enough of me just dying in the moment here.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
Whatever it was must have been bad, man. What happened?
No, I'm just still on my Shorty G bullshit. Like, he's an Olympian, you guys.
He is an Olympian.
Just let it sit. It's deep, like a fucking tea. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop now. Mandy Rose. Last week, this was after Dolph stomped on the fruitcake that his mama made for her, and he gave her. She asked him if his mama made anything special for the holiday, and he tells her to ask Dolph Ziggler. And she asks, "Oh, did you see what happened last week?" And he was just like, "I didn't. My mama did." He tries to apologize, but Tucker shows up because they've got a match. And we get Heavy Machinery and Drew Gulak. And Gulak, on his way out, has a PowerPoint presentation for why Mandy Rose will never date Otis Dozovic. And it's because it looks like he's leaking butter and because he's not too bright. And he's got a 372 slide PowerPoint presentation. And then we get a match. It's just Otis versus Gulak straight up. And of course Otis wins. And of course Otis is adorable in this match with his like firing up and jiggling his belly and shit. I love this man. He's amazing. He's a national treasure. And yeah, Gulak, it's really nice to see him. Even if he is just jobbing on this show, I think that knowing that they wanted him to be a fucking coach, I can settle for him just jobbing to someone as entertaining as Otis, you know?
Oh, dude, absolutely. Gulak's too good. Like, I think he's still got too much in-ring mileage left to give.
Yeah.
Just to be a fucking coach right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm cool with this as well, man. I'm in complete agreement with you. This is good shit.
Definitely. You keep saying that, and every time you say it, I want to do the Vince impersonation.
I'll try and break the cycle, but it definitely sounds like a you problem.
Oh, I'm not denying that.
Okay. Right,
but then, Otis beats Gulak with a Vader bomb. He does the Caterpillar, and then he does a Vader bomb, and I love that as a finisher for him. How about you?
Yes, definitely. It's a great fit for him, dude, for sure.
Glad that we're on the same page there. Then on this week's show, we see Mandy and Sonya backstage. Sonya trying to pump Mandy up for her match tonight, and Mandy was kind of in her own little world until Sonya, I've got to take care of something first. And then we see her, she shows us in the locker room, she's got this big white box, right? And, we're just it's clearly like something confectionery. We're not sure what it is. We're kind of left hanging. That, you know what? I just want to take a little bit of a tangent here, actually, to talk about a running theme that I'm starting to notice, especially on Raw, but we've got a hint of it on SmackDown tonight. Mystery boxes. Are you noticing that there has been a notable, at least to me, a noteworthy increase of the sort of mystery box trope on WWE television lately?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point, brother. I hadn't really thought about it, but you definitely bringing that to my attention. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, because, it's not just this. Like, let's think about Rowan's fucking cage. is a mystery box. And then like, oh, who's gonna be Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe's partner at the end of the night? It's not a literal box, but it's still like this like hanging overarching mystery that makes people stay tuned. You know, it's like, oh, we got to hook people to make sure that we keep their viewership. And, you know, little stuff like that. I feel like they've been doing that a lot more lately, and it feels cheap as hell, and I don't like it.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with your analysis, man. I never really thought about that, but you're actually 100% right. And I don't like it either, because it goes back to what I said about the whole mystery partner thing way in the beginning of this. It just feels very manipulative. I won't like go that hard on the SmackDown thing. You know, because it did get revealed like moments later.
Right.
You had to figure
yeah, like that.
that.
That really isn't as much of an example as the fucking cage for Rowan, and most notably the mystery partner for Joe and Kevin Owens this week.
Yeah, exactly. But I definitely see this theme that you're going with, and I just feel like it just smacks of laziness to me, because I feel like you only make
it's like, what can we introduce at the beginning of the show that we can hook people until the end of the show that isn't even anything compelling? It's just like this totally empty gesture that is like clickbait practically in the form of something on TV.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with you, man, 100%.
Anyway, let's get back to Mandy's mystery box. Turns out she brings it to Otis, and, you know, she reveals, you know, she apologizes to him and reveals that she made him a cake, and it says, "I'm sorry" on it, and it's adorable, and I loved this. And I don't want to like Mandy Rose, but if anyone can get me to do it, it's Otis, because he's just this big, lovable, adorable son of a bitch. And then later on in the night, we had a match, Mandy versus Alexa Bliss. And of course, we had Sonya and Nikki Cross at ringside. And mid-match, while Alexa Bliss is starting to build up some momentum, Heavy Machinery's music hits. And they come out, and Otis is eating this cake with his hands. And it distracts Bliss long enough that Mandy hits her, or actually, I think Mandy just rolls her up. Mandy rolls her up, and then after Mandy's music starts playing, we see Otis eating this cake and flicking his tongue like and eventually we see him just dive in head first and just lick the cake, the icing off the cake completely, like fucking Augie in Matilda, if you know that reference. Like, this was hilarious. I love Otis, and I love everything about the storyline right now.
Dude,
except for Dolph Ziggler's involvement.
You making the sound effect with the tongue flicking set me all over again. You know? God damn it. Although, credit to me, because I'm so glad I pointed that out to you so that you could rewind it and like see it, because I know you missed it the first time. And I'm like, no, dude, you gotta see this, because I died. I'm like, because Otis just has that face, literally that face, where every expression he makes, everything he does with it is so fucking hilarious. And I saw that, and I'm like, that feels so wrong, but I'm here for 150% of it. And like you, dude, like, I don't want to like Mandy either, but like, I'll say it again. This storyline's my guilty pleasure. I even tweeted, protect Otis at all costs, because Mandy seemed to like that Otis helped her. And now I'm starting to worry that, is this going to be one where it's like, you know, Sonya, don't worry. Somebody like me could never fall for somebody like Otis. And I'm just using him because can you imagine that muscle on our side when we try and go after the women's tag team titles and stuff like that? And then like Otis overhears, and then he gets like angry, which I guess I wouldn't mind it.
And Mandy just keeps stringing him along, like she, you know, apologizes. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I was just trying to," you know, it's just girl locker room talk, kind of like how you and the boys, I'm sure you talk about stuff like that all the time. That's how we are in the locker room for the girls too. You know, I don't actually mean anything like that. It's just girl talk. I'm just trying to psych Sonya up and get her to like you more. And then again, it's like this whole back and it's like when fucking Sasha was like in the process of turning heel, and I forget it was Becky or Bailey that just kept believing her when she, or Paige when she was in the middle of turning heel, and Becky and Charlotte just kept believing her when she apologized, and we just knew that she was just going to turn on them every night, and that she kept doing it, and they kept falling for it regardless. Like, it was so dumb. And that's
I feel like that's something that should, like, Yeah, I feel like that's something that like may happen in Stardom one of these days, but at least they'll make it entertaining. Watch it be because of Mayu, because of how like aloof she is.
I mean, that's the thing though, is that's Mayu's character though. Mayu's character is that she's aloof and clumsy and kind of dingy. So if she would accept an apology and then get duped again, it would be perfectly within the realm of her character. Not the fucking boss Sasha Banks, not the Irish lass kicker Becky Lynch, not, you know, like that's not a part of their characters. So it doesn't make as much sense with them. But with Mayu, it's perfect.
Yeah. But, I don't even know if I want the angle to go that route. I mean, if it does, it may be entertaining. Like, I don't want to discount it out of hand.
I don't want it to either. I want Otis and Mandy to start making out on live TV.
Yeah. I'd be like, all right, well, goddamn, Otis.
Oh!
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Here you go. So we'll see what happens, but I'm liking it so far, and Otis is making this work. Again, Otis is just becoming another guy that you give him opportunities. He knocks it out of the park, man. So let's see what else he can do with this.
Do you remember that old ad? It was like a Super Bowl ad. And it was like, I think it was like for GoDaddy, where they got like a supermodel to make out with this chubby, acne-ridden, curly-haired geek.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I feel like they're almost going for that with Mandy and Otis.
We'll see, man. We'll
Except
see.
Otis is actually genuinely cool and lovable, and the guy in the commercial wasn't at all.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so I guess we can move on from this. We really only do have 2 angles left, and they kind of overlap. That's the beautiful thing about SmackDown, dude, and especially the main event of SmackDown, is that there is so much interconnectedness starting to happen, and I love it. Because there's interconnectedness with The Miz and Daniel Bryan, and then there's also interconnected with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, and then you can include the heel side in that because of Corbin and Ziggler, and now Bobby Roode is back. Like, there's so much going on, and now we're getting this whole thing with The Miz and Morrison, and let's just get into this. So, SmackDown last week opened with a Miz promo talking about how he wants nothing more than to get revenge on The Fiend for his invasion of my privacy and home. But you beat me, so take that title from him at the Royal Rumble. He was talking to Bryan. And then he came across New Day later on in the night with a tray of pancakes shaped like 2020. And Kofi was like trying to console Miz, talking about how great of a decade he had. The 2010s were his decade, and talks about how, he met the woman of his dreams, and he, had 2 beautiful children, and he won the most championships in the WWE. And then Big E corrected him. He was like, oh, he's actually tied with my boy, my neighbor, Kofi Kingston. And Miz was like all offended. He was like, how dare you try and make this about championships? My home was invaded. This is personal. I'm, like, he was all up in arms. It's not about the titles. The Fiend violated the sanctity of my home and family, and you have no idea what that feels like. You want to celebrate? You want to start it off right? Why don't we fight? And then he slaps the tray of pancakes out of Kofi's hands. And then Big E steps to Miz, real angry like. And Kofi says, the Fiend's got your mind all scrambled up, to the Miz. And if you want to find a way to take out your frustration, I'll accept your challenge and we can fight. So the Miz wishes him a happy new year and leaves. And then we get the match. And it's a short match. Kofi does pin the Miz with a victory roll type maneuver. And then the Miz attacks Kofi from behind after the bell. And then he runs away when Big E comes to the rescue. And the crowd starts chanting, you suck, you suck, you suck at the Miz. And he freaks out in a brilliant performance, saying stuff like, after everything I've been through, after everything, you're doing this to me now. Like, it was so, so good. And then a few minutes later, Kathy Kelly was trying to get an interview with The Miz, but out of his locker room came John Morrison, who said that The Miz had nothing left to say for the night. And that brings us to tonight, which we opened with Miz TV, who was his guest, though, was John Morrison. Before Morrison came out, Miz did apologize to Kofi for last week, says, I got caught up in my emotions. I don't have any excuses. I apologize. And then he brings out Morrison, and we get a beautiful sizzle reel showing all of the highlights some of the highlights of Morrison's career in WWE before he left. And then Morrison, we get a brief interaction between him and Miz, But the grits hit the pan, so to speak, when Morrison says that he is disappointed in the fans for not basically giving the Miz a benefit of the doubt. You're like, Miz had one bad day and you're ready to chant you suck at him. And he's like, you don't understand. You've never been in this ring. And then he starts pointing to individual fans being like, oh, hey, imagine this douchebag in the ring. And then the New Day come out. And the Miz kind of talked down to Kofi and talked about, oh, you lost the title in so many seconds. And then we get a match. It's the Miz versus Kofi again, second week in a row. But this time, John Morrison and Big E are on commentary. And can I just say, their commentary banter was genuinely good. Shockingly, to me at least, John Morrison definitely was able to go toe-to-toe with Big E on commentary. Did a great job, talking and getting in that banter and not really, trying to go after anyone, not insulting anyone, but still being able to build himself and Miz back up. They bring up the old day, you call yourself the New Day, but you keep doing all the same stuff. And Biggie was just like, well, let's not talk about the old day. and then Morrison was just like, wait, was the old day a thing? And he was just like, oh yeah, it happened. And Morrison was just like, oh, I must have missed it. So that was pretty great. But then we went to a promo. When we came back from the promo, Big E and Jomo were at ringside, and we see the Miz pie face E with a boot at some point. And the Big E starts getting up in Miz's face, and then Morrison does an awesome parkour move to nail Big E and kind of take him out. And that distracts Kofi long enough for the Miz to hit him with a skull-crushing finale and win the match. And we're also going to be getting Big E versus Morrison next week, so that's very exciting. But lots of stuff has been going on with this core, and I love everything that's been going on. I love the nuance to the Miz's character. I love that they're turning him heel without him being ready to accept that he's become a heel again yet. I love everything about this. I love the nuances. I love that Morrison's here. I love that Morrison's heel immediately. I just love it. I'm so happy. And now that I'm done speaking, because I know that this is really your guy, I am going to just take 5 steps back from the microphone and hand all of the glory over to you so that you can say everything you want to say.
I appreciate it. It's so great to have him back. I love what they're doing with him already. I enjoyed the promo. I think I'll always miss like the cinematic style of Lucha Underground, how he was able to talk there. But I feel like for here, he got from point A to point B. He called one fan a turd cutter, which I've never heard of.
Yeah, he did.
And another guy, the douchebag, to your point. And honestly, guys, I'm just so fucking happy we are getting heel Morrison to start. Because I don't doubt that he's going to be babyface before his WWE career is through, but I want them to work organically to the turn rather than just him immediately coming back as a babyface. Because if him and Miz have success, maybe even a quality tag title reign, whatever, and Miz turns on him again, the way their team broke up the last time, the face turn for Morrison, I think, is going to be pretty big then. He'll get a nice reaction.
Dude, I expect the opposite. I expect John Morrison to be the one to turn on the Miz and have the Miz go face because he's so good at it now.
He is
and
really
honestly,
good at
as long as Miz and Mrs. is still running live, like on TV, I can't imagine the Miz being a full-time heel ever again.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But either way, I just personally hope that the tag team is kind of a springboard to get Morrison into bigger single spots. The guitar riff at the beginning made my heart soar, which is an exact Facebook message I sent to Ashton. Miz and Morrison played well off of each other. Getting the New Day into the mix, I love the energy there. If this does culminate in a tag title matchup where there's no reason why it shouldn't, I am here for it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a great thing to witness. And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed this segment. Honestly, I'm looking more forward to next week on SmackDown because it got announced that Jomo is going to be facing Big E in his first singles match back with the WWE, putting him in singles right away. You love to see it. I hope everything goes well. We've seen him wrestle pretty much all this time because I even kind of glimpsed his Impact stuff, so I have no doubt that he'll be ready to bring it. E's always solid. In the meantime, though, we did get Miz Kofi the rematch here, yeah, because the rematch from last week where Kofi won, and it was a solid matchup. Jomo and Big E were great on commentary until they moved to the more ringside area, kind of more managed like, so that was good. The flip that Jomo did to take out Big E towards the end of the match was great. Yeah. I definitely put a smile on my face, and then Miz capitalizing, like, that's how I know some people are complaining about 50-50 booking. I can forgive it because they're telling a larger story in this case. It's not just trading wins that you can protect two people. It's my best friend is back, and now look how much better things are because he's back. So because you're adding another piece to the puzzle, I can kind of forgive it and look past it. And again, I'm just really hyped for the tag match. I'm really hyped for Jomo's, because I've even been saying, he's 40 years old now. And I really feel like this is going to be his last WWE run. So I just want him to do everything that he wants to do. Kind of think of it of like Kagetsu booking her own retirement tour, right? I feel like Johnny has kind of this checklist. I want to tag with The Miz again, want to do this. And him being able to do this, if he's having a fun time, I'm having a fun time. It's good shit. I'm not about to.
I would not be surprised at all if they won the tag titles as early as Rumble, held them through WrestleMania, dropped them, and then Morrison got drafted over to Raw.
Yeah.
Because know he wants to work with Seth Rollins more than anyone on the roster.
Yeah, which if he does, that's how you facilitate the fucking face turn for him, and then maybe you can have Miz as a babyface still on SmackDown. I don't know. I don't know. Because, and if they do have him work with Seth, the only thing that's exciting about that, and again, I go back to what I said earlier, Seth is positioned as the top babyface or the top heel on the card, excuse me. So Morrison working with him at that level, that's big things for him. So again, as long as he's having fun, I'm having fun. But I've still got ambitions. We still got unfinished business, like that WWE title. Them talking about both Kofi and Miz being former WWE champions. I'm looking at Ian Morrison, and I'm just thinking I want those two to get runs with that strap too. So I want to get shit done. But right now, if this is the first stop, I'm having a great fucking time with it. Definitely the highlight of the show for me. I can't wait to see where it goes from here, man. That's all I can say about it.
All right, now let's get to the true main event of SmackDown. We've got two intertwining stories happening simultaneously here because we've got Bryan versus The Fiend happening kind of alongside Roman Reigns and the Usos versus Baron Corbin and his goons. Because last week we got Bryan and Reigns versus Corbin and Ziggler, and that kind of split off into those two separate storylines this week. So, first off, last week, the first time that we saw anyone involved in this was Kathy Kelly interviewing Bryan and Reigns. And it was actually right after The Miz was like freaking out because the crowd was saying you suck. And Bryan was like, well, you see what's happening to The Miz. He's mentally breaking. That's what happens when people face the Fiend. Bryan just will not forgo an opportunity to take shots at The Miz, and I love it.
Nor should he. That's how you keep the rivalry hot, baby. That's how you keep the rivalry hot.
But he does a great job of keeping it relevant to the point, because then he continues with, that happened to Seth Rollins, it happened to Finn Balor. In fact, the only person who's faced the Fiend and not mentally broken is me, because good old DB is unbreakable. And then he says that he's going to walk out of the Rumble Universal Champ, and Roman says, well, that's perfect, because I'm entering the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to win that match. And then the main event of WrestleMania will be Roman Reigns challenging Daniel Bryan for the WWE or for the Universal Championship. And yeah, he even brings up that nobody actually beat him for the Universal title, which is a true fact. He had to relinquish it, and tells Bryan, you better be ready. And Bryan's just like, I'm always ready. So yeah, those two at WrestleMania. It's going to be interesting. If it can happen. Bryan wants Roman to make sure that he's ready for their tag match tonight, though, and focus on tonight. And Roman says that the only ones that are ready are Corbin and Ziggler. And then we find out that the match is going to main event. And when it happens, it's okay. It's fucking Baron Corbin. I can't get excited about his matches. But at a certain point in the match, the lights go out, the Fiend shows up. Bryan goes right after him, but gets thrown through a barricade and mandible clawed. And as the Fiend has the mandible claw sunk in on Bryan, he screams, he's so fun!
Yeah, I heard that. Oh, God.
But because Bryan has been taken out, when the lights come back on, Corbin and Ziggler are like, holy shit, time to do our favorite thing ever, get the dog food. And they cuffs, and they get ready to chain Roman up on the ring post, and they get the Alpo out. And then the Usos hit the ring, baby. The Usos come out. They make a save. It was an awesome moment. We live reacted to it. It was great live reaction. I lost my shit. John was super happy. I loved everything about this.
Dude, I gotta tell you, man, their app, and we've already talked about this before, so this isn't exactly new, but man, was their absence felt.
Yes.
And
It's not
man,
very often that somebody's missing from WWE and we really feel that absence. It's like, God, we miss that person. Like right now, Ruby Riott and Ember Moon, definitely. And the Usos were like the only acts that aren't in the product right now that we miss to the point that we know they're gone.
yeah, exactly.
And
But
on NXT, I would also add Velveteen Dream to that list.
yes, God, I miss Velveteen. Oh man. But you just know, dude, like the energy changed instantly and dramatically upon the Usos returning.
Yep.
It's like, fuck, was this missed? They were great. The crowd was hot. They looked great. You know, I love.
They made the crowd hot.
Yeah, yeah. And dude, once again, can I just say, because you know we do try and be fair on this podcast, WWE still doing right by Roman Reigns as a babyface. Because I'll tell you, this is a smart fucking move. You put him in peril again, and then who do you pair him with to watch his back? A legitimately hot act that is Samoan, so you keep up with that whole thing. Yep. They have the blood relation to Reigns, and it keeps Reigns likable, running with guys that are likable. I've got to commend WWE for that move, man. That was a masterstroke.
And I was even saying in the one Facebook chat earlier tonight, this is like the exact opposite of the previous run that these three guys had together, because rather than Roman making the Usos feel lame, the Usos are making Roman feel more cool.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have said it better. And I really hope that they're able to ride this wave all the way to fucking Mania, because that's, you know, where you know they want to go with it. And, you know, that the crowd doesn't turn on Roman. Because it'll come to a point, if WWE really does handle this well and the crowd would still turn on him, then it's a crowd problem. Like, I would have to call out the crowd. Because right now, I think they're doing a great job with it. Like, yeah. Roman still hasn't gotten his win back, if I'm not mistaken, over Corbin. Like, you know, because he got the TLC win, but I don't think... but
he'll get it at Rumble. He'll get it at Rumble.
Oh, he'll get it at Rumble, but I'd be okay with him getting it at Rumble at this point. You know, just with the way the whole story's shaken out. Yeah. You know, all things being... Well, because to me, the story is, all things being equal, Roman Reigns is better than Baron Corbin. So we just got to do the equalizing.
Corbin just had the numbers advantage until now.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool with it. I'm really having fun with this. I can't believe I'm enjoying Roman Reigns, and I cannot wait to enjoy the Usos now. Like full fucking throttle, baby. It's Usos, great to have them back.
Yeah, they did have their first tag match tonight.
Yeah. And that got crazy real quick, you know, because the Revival showed up, and then Roman took them out, and then, you know, the brawl kind of devolved. I think it went to like a no contest, and then Rude returned. So it's this big like free for all feeling right now. I really wanted the Usos to get the definitive win. That clearly wasn't the plan, because I guess the plan was to put over more just this big.
I just wonder when the hell the Revival decided to start helping. You know what I mean? Like, when the Revival show up and start freaking helping Corbin. Like, I thought they were with Orton, and Orton and Corbin were you know, I guess they were buds though, weren't they? Shit.
Yeah, I feel like the Revival just want to be loved by some group. Like, please.
The Revival are the like pre-Chavo beatdown version of Pentagon Jr. and Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
They just want to be accepted by someone. They want someone to tell them that they're their friends.
Exactly. God, I'm sorry. You mentioning Chavo and Pentagon. Never forget. Oh, Chavo, you helped me most of all. I know, but I know. Let me go have this match, okay? And that's why I'm going to destroy you first. He just breaks his arm.
Oh, that was great. Yup.
Okay. I feel like that squeak was earned. Yeah, it was earned.
Definitely.
So yeah, like I don't know if I care for like all the cat, but I at least appreciate SmackDown trying to give this some kind of like frenzied energy. You know, that's like naturally like exciting. People gravitate to that. I can appreciate that. I just want, you know, Roman to get his win back, win the Rumble. Because
dude, listen to the words that you just said. Listen to the fucking sounds that just emanated from your throat.
Yeah.
You want Roman Reigns to get a win back.
Yeah. And I honestly wouldn't even mind him winning the Rumble, truthfully, because this Roman Reigns right now, I would honestly be interested to see him work with The Fiend. Especially because parallel to that, the way The Fiend's been booked, I'm not even 100% sure that Roman would win the match. I mean, he probably would, to be fair. But the idea that
But how many times did we think he would beat Brock and he didn't?
Exactly. That's true. That's true. So the idea that I even have a kernel of doubt, I don't mind this for a minute. Like, dude, truthfully, that match on the SmackDown side would almost take the taste out of my mouth of Tyson Fury versus Brock or Velasquez versus Brock, whichever one they're going to go with. And God, if they would subvert expectations and give us Riddle versus Brock, I mean, then, sorry, Roman, but I'm going to have to opt with that. But, like, fuck me, yeah. Oh, it's everywhere. Oh, you're going to be okay, bud?
I might be dehydrated after that.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. So, yeah, things are happening, clearly. We'll see if things continue to happen and if we continue to enjoy them. That's pretty much TWitWoW in a nutshell. And, yeah, good shit for the Usos and good shit for Roman Reigns. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, so on tonight's episode of SmackDown, we got a brilliant Firefly Funhouse from Bray. He says, I love you. That felt good. Love is so special. Not everyone is worthy. I'm looking at you, Daniel Bryan. Love is... That's the way he feels about you, Daniel. And I can't say I blame him. Lately, you've been pretty naughty. Really frickin' naughty. Bray says that Bryan is in a whole heap of trouble at the Royal Rumble because he just wanted you to remember. And then they show clips of when Bryan was in the Wyatt family briefly and turned on him. And then he says that the Fiend, he just wanted to change you. And now, since you want to take this away from us, referring to the Universal Championship, he just wants to hurt you. And then he does the whole outro. Bye! See you real soon! I love you! Not you, Daniel. I love flies. Bye!
This is amazing. Your retelling of it actually captured how amazing this was.
Good. I'm glad that I could do it justice.
I still love Bray. I still do love the Funhouse. That love's being appropriately given. And you know what? I do love Daniel. It's okay, Daniel.
I do too. He's my favorite.
Oh my God, you're precious. Let's protect you from all the things, especially given this segment we're talking about. So yeah, Daniel, you don't need Bray's love. Oh my God. Yeah, you don't need Bray's love. You got plenty of love all around you, bro. You're good. You're good.
I mean, he does have like a wife and kid.
I mean, yeah, they don't matter. But
I'm pretty sure they provide him with plenty of love too.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, this is a great segment. I'm really stoked for this rematch. I think this is good shit.
All right. So then we get an interview with Bryan later on in the night. He said, and I loved the way he structured this promo. Dude, how is Daniel Bryan like perfect? Like the most selfless performer ever. He's one of the best talents in the ring I've ever seen. And now, like, he's this transcendent talent on the mic who's just better than everyone else at that, too. So he says, the Fiend wants me to remember, and I do, but what he doesn't want me to remember is that I outsmarted him. He wants me to change, and I did, but what he doesn't want to realize is that I changed for the better. He wants to hurt me, and he will, but he really doesn't like that he can't break me. Oh, goosebumps! He's so fucking good!
And you know what the thing is, dude? Like, his delivery isn't even, like, anything, like, over the top or anything. It's, like, very... It almost seems like... Sincere and a bit like the everyman, but with, like, a certain confidence and conviction, right? Yeah. It's not like... Because with Dusty, there was almost, like a charm to it, and Bryan's got a charm
Dusty
to it, but it's very
distinct. Like, over the top.
Exactly. With Bryan, it's very direct, and again, the word I go back to is conviction, without losing that everyman quality.
He talks like a real person.
Yeah, he really does. It's amazing. And you know, I'd normally be angry that somebody's so good at all the things that it's like, can't anyone have anything else? But then Bryan's like, no, fam, I got you, because I'm good at everything, so I can give people everything. Yeah. I'm gonna make Kofi. I'm gonna give Buddy Murphy a big win. I'm gonna put over fucking Eric Rowan. Let's not forget that Eric Rowan beat him in a singles match.
Yeah,
like
Mustafa Ali too.
He is literally
On the road to Mania, he put over Mustafa Ali.
Yeah. He is literally the closest thing we have, if we're getting all religious up in here, to a wrestling Jesus. Like, he will go on the cross of bad booking and everything else so that all of our stars can prosper. I wouldn't be surprised before Jomo gets drafted if Daniel Bryan puts him over too, to which I'll be like, thank you, Daniel. He's amazing. I mean, just for that, honestly, you want to talk about, I was ranting on Charlotte earlier big time, and that makes me think of Rick
Daniel Bryan is the literal opposite of Charlotte in every way.
In every fucking way. But I was going to say, if anybody deserves the accolade of a 16-time world champion, it's a guy that would make the belt and make the opposition at the same fucking time. Christ. He's undeniable, dude. He's unfucking deniable. That's all I really have to say about it. It's that good.
So after Bryan says that the Fiend can't break him, we get this TV static on the monitor behind him, and it's Ramblin' Rabbit. And he says, I'm the biggest fan, dude. Yes, yes, yes. And then he's talking about how I wanted to tell you how you can beat the Fiend. I know the secret. I know his weakness. The way that you do it is... And then the Hurt Glove appears, and it shuts Ramblin' Rabbit up, and Bray says... Remember, kids, snitches get stitches.
Dude, I died. I'm like, oh God, Firefly Funhouse brought to a local fucking rundown street near you. Holy shit, man.
Oh God. And yeah, then we don't actually see what he does to the rabbit there, but we see the results of it later. Ooh.
He's so abusive to Ramblin'. I even saw somebody tweet, damn it, Ramblin', shut up. Every time you talk, that's why you die.
Yeah, because later in the night, we do see, Bryan opens a present in his locker room, and it's an impaled Ramblin' Rabbit.
I just love everything.
Missing a chunk of his head.
Yeah, dude, I've been loving everything Bray's been doing, but I can't tell you how refreshing it is, too, that Bray is working off somebody that can, like, rise to the level of his segments and stuff. Exactly. Yeah, like, it's so fucking good, man. Yeah. It's so good.
All right, now let's get to the Roman stuff. Roman Reigns out for a promo, says that he didn't need the help of friends, he needed the help of family, says that 2020 is his year, and he's going to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania again. He's going to do it with the Usos at his side, and then they come out, and they talk about how they're going to turn Friday Night SmackDown into Friday Night Lockdown, and then as they're about to do the welcome to the Uso Penitentiary, Corbin's music hits, because of course he needs to ruin everything. He already ruined his own music. Why not ruin somebody else's something? So,
dude, this is the second time you've been deprived of something, because you couldn't do the Naito thing at Wrestle Kingdom, and now you couldn't do this tonight. Like, wow, blue balls.
Yeah, wrestling is really living on just depriving me of everything that I love in life. But anyway, let's move on before I really think about that and kill myself. Corbin talks some shit, and Roman challenges him to a singles match at the Royal Rumble, which Corbin accepts, but he wants to take out Roman's two bitches out before their singles match. Of course, referring to the Usos as Roman's two bitches. So we get Usos and Corbin and Ziggler in a tag match main event for SmackDown. Revival show up randomly in mid-match to help Corbin out, but Roman's music hits and he neutralizes them with ease with the double Superman punch. And like you mentioned earlier, we don't actually get a conclusive finish, I don't think, to the match, because then Bobby Roode shows up and we get a disqualification or something. I don't even know what happened, because I stopped taking notes at this point.
Yeah, it just got so crazy so quickly. I know that Robert's back, which, like the softest fucking golf clap. Wasn't the only thing soft when I saw him come out. I'm like, oh, that's fine. Can we get more Bryan content, please? But again, it's fine. But again, Roman's being done right, because he's on the more entertaining side of all of this. So that's good, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me happy.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man, that's really all I have to say about it. This exists. Roman just get his win back, win the Rumble, go on to feud with the Fiend or something. Just do shit.
Can we make this not exist? Is that a possible option?
I believe we can, but it's going to take a lot of effort, and I just don't have the energy to put in that effort right now.
All right.
So, is that our last thing?
Yes.
All right. Then we get into high spots and low shots. My low shot, my honorary low shot, because I'm just going to have some fun with this, is Ramblin' Rabbit. Pour one out for our homie, Ramblin'
Man.
Rabbit. Dead again.
Fucking hell. Poor Rambling Rabbit, man.
I know.
He really does deserve better.
Yeah, he does. I think we deserve better too, because man, that really got depressing there for a minute. But I'll also say that my actual low shot. Do I want to go with Raw or SmackDown this week? You know what? I think I will go with SmackDown.
Can we just pick Raw writing as our low shot? Shit, man.
I mean, if that's genuinely on the table, like, don't, if that's on the table, I'll go
Don't
with
tickle
it.
my balls. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but no, I hate to do this, and I honestly deserve to be crucified. But thankfully, we only have like 4 live viewers, so I doubt any of you are gonna do shit. My low shot is Sasha Banks because.
Well, I mean, yeah, dude, that makes sense. She got fucking pinned by Dana Brooke. Christ.
And then she wasn't even on tonight to make up for it. I mean, granted, it's perfectly within character for Sasha, so I will give them that. That's not what I'm dragging for. I'm just saying more like you didn't beat the fucking shit out of Dana Brooke tonight when you could have and like redeemed this. So yeah, getting pinned by Dana, Sasha, I can't apologize enough to you for doing this, but I got to do my job. You're my low shot. God, I hated doing that. Who's your low shot?
Oh man. I mean, after tonight, after the rant that you had, I'm tempted to make it Charlotte. She won both of her matches.
Oh God, low shot at life, brother. Low shot at fucking life.
Honestly, if we're talking about just unfortunate circumstances, my low shot's got to be Liv Morgan because she got dragged into this shit.
Oh God, yeah. Oh God. Fuck. Why were both of our low shots women? Why are the women being treated so awful? Why?
Because blondes rule the world.
But, I mean, Liv isn't even getting a good slice of the world. She's getting the slice of the world that's molding.
She's getting featured, damn it!
Oh, die. You're so old. How much more life could you possibly have left? God damn it. Like, the human body only has a limited number of heartbeats. Fucking use yours up already. Jesus. Oh, God. See what it does? I don't want to be this awful. I really don't. This product puts so much hate in my heart. Fuck. Oh, okay. High spot. You know what? It's our fucking podcast.
By the way, I'm gonna just say Liv is like an honorary, like with the Raw writing thing. My actual low shot's the OC.
Okay.
Because they lost to the Street Profits.
Yeah.
This week, and then they were actually the receiving end of the pinfall in the Triple Threat Tag Title match this week. So yeah, the OC are easy pick there.
There you go. All right. I'm glad you said that before I really got on my roll, because I was going to say that, you know what, ending it on a high note, my high spot's John Morrison.
Yeah.
He's back. He turned heel.
Yes.
God, I miss saying that. I miss saying that on this podcast.
Yes.
He turned heel. He's better than every person in that fucking audience, which, you know what? I'm so glad he dumped them, because he's better than all of you anyway.
Fucking
maybe
turd
look
cutters.
in the
Turd cutter douchebags.
Yeah, fucking turd cutter douchebags. You trash cans full of human disappointment. Go fuck yourselves. So yeah, I'm glad he dumped them. Beg pardon?
I said I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, well, you can expect me to be way back on my bullshit now that Jomo's back, brother. Get ready for all the squeeze, all the screeds, and all of the hatred.
Well, I'm sorry, what was that second word? All the what?
All the screeds. You know, they say like, oh, he wrote this screed kind of thing. It's a legitimate word. I know words.
I believe you. I just don't know what it is.
Okay, well, this is why you don't go to college.
And yeah,
folks.
that's the thing. I don't even know how to spell it to Google it myself.
All right, well, screed.
If I had to guess, is it SKREED?
SCREED, and it's a long speech or piece of writing, typically one regarded as tedious. Yeah.
So you literally just said, expect me to get much more tedious.
Hell yes. Praising our one true God, John Morrison. Oh, yeah.
Bro, I gotta tell you, when his music hit and he still had Ain't No Make Believe, I marked so bad. Oh, it was so good.
Dude, it was like I had to... Somehow I astral projected like onto the other pairs of pants I hadn't even worn yet. So, like, I really had to rifle through and be like, oh, finally, a clean pair. So, yeah, and not to mention, can I just say, too, since he is my high spot and I'm using up the space to bring it back to Jomo, which, let's be honest, it always belonged there in the first place, he looks really distinguished this run. Like, the hair just seems like a lighter
he's got, like, that
kind
5
of
o'clock shadow going on.
Yeah, like, he's kind of aging gracefully. You know, he's like,
Yep.
I know I'm good. And then it's all like,
He's
oh,
clearly
Jomo,
got his sights set on fucking Dr. Wagner Jr., that silver fox look in the when he gets to 50.
yeah, Fox is about to get sniped, fam. I don't know. Just, you know, I'm digging it, and I'm just like over here. Oh, Jomo, we love you. Shut up, baby. I know it. So you know, I love
He's got to
these
keep
lean-
himself looking good for Taya.
Oh, you know. Well, she even tweeted, oh, you know, doing those kinds of flips in those pants. That's my husband. I'm like, yeah girl, get it.
I wonder if him being in the company now, if he's going to help her get a foot in the door and maybe get a push. Because like we have seen instances before where WWE will hire someone that is like, you know, gets in and kind of gets ingratiated into the culture, and then their significant other gets brought in afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she'd be a good fit for the women's division too, especially on NXT. I think she'd be a great fit over there. But
I mean, you would definitely think that she would end up on whatever brand he's on, so not NXT.
True. And then when she's there, I mean, she was instrumental in him becoming Lucha Underground champion, which means she could also be instrumental in him becoming world champion.
Which also means that he could be instrumental in her winning one of the women's titles.
God, my face is so fucking erect right now. Okay, so he's my high spot.
Happened? Does your nose turn into Pinocchio's?
Damn right it does, because everything with Jomo happens on a cosmic fucking level.
God, how does that joke go where the woman sits on Pinocchio's face and says, "Lie to me, baby"?
Oh, God. I mean, I'd say I'm not quite there yet with Jomo, but then my nose would be growing. Anyway, so he's my high spot. I really do hope he wins the world title, and if he doesn't, the company's wrong. That's my thoughts on that. Oh, and to anybody that didn't like his promo, because I did see some people, I mean, just because you don't even know what an oblique is doesn't mean you have to ruin it for the rest of us, okay? So who's your high spot?
I mean, I think we're just both picking our favorites at this point. My high spot's Daniel Bryan. He's amazing. He's had amazing promos. He, you know, had a great match last week. He went after the Fiend, and he didn't get the better of him, but he did show Cero Miedo. He didn't fear the Fiend at all. And then this week, he cuts the amazing promo, and, you know, you could tell he's got the Fiend on the fucking ropes, bro. He's got him, like, I wouldn't say the Fiend is scared, but the Fiend is definitely spooked a little bit, okay?
Well, if the Fiend wasn't spooked, he wouldn't have stopped Ramblin' Rabbit. I mean, I know technically that was Bray, but he definitely seemed to be channeling a little bit of the Fiend there. So, yeah, he knows. I mean, and brother, can I just say, between you picking the one wrestling deity, Daniel Bryan, and me picking the other wrestling deity, Jomo, it just feels so good to use our platform after all the depression to celebrate actual quality talent. And it just feels so fucking right. You know, it just kind of tells me that the real reality show we all should have been getting the whole time was just Jomo, Adam Cole, and Daniel Bryan living together as bros. And then having Matt Riddle in there because he's a literal bro. Yeah. Like,
by the way, dude, before we close, did you hear the rumor about the Matt Riddle promo from Wednesday?
No, what was that?
So apparently Riddle had an idea of what he wanted to do with that promo, and Triple H had a script for Riddle from one of the writers or from the writing team, or however things work there as far as writing scripts goes. And they had Riddle do it both ways. They had Riddle do it the scripted way, and they had him do it his way. And the one that aired was Riddle's way.
That's amazing.
So that promo was Riddle doing his own thing, kind of going into his own territory, cutting his own promo, and it was the most memorable thing on the whole show.
You know what, though? Kudos to NXT for giving Riddle that chance and trusting him.
Yes.
I wish that happened a lot more.
Yes, so good.
Because here's the thing,
he gave me the done special. Shrug. I gave him the bro special. Bro fists. And then with the broser weights the broser weights were brought to life. Like, so good. I gotta go back and watch it again now because I'm already starting to kind of forget it, and I don't want to forget it. It's too good.
And see, dude, like, it's never gonna hurt to find out where somebody's talents are or aren't, and you're never gonna find that out until you give them the ball. Because here's the thing: if somebody flubs the ball, that's why you have a writing team. But if you realize that somebody can talk, that's less pressure on them and more creative autonomy for the talent. It's a win-win. Yeah. So I really just want to like go out of my way to emphasize that what NXT did, I heartily approve of that, and I heartily celebrate that. I wish again that was the norm. Yeah, exactly. Fucking exactly. So, with that said, do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't.
All right. Well, guys, this has been another catch-up commentary. Good Lord, we almost went 3 hours. All right. So, with that said, we have nothing Saturday or Sunday because we did start them today.
Or
We
Monday.
that other part.
Or Tuesday.
Or Monday. Or did you say or Tuesday, or is our next thing Tuesday?
No, I said or Tuesday. We don't have anything Tuesday either.
Holy shit. Man, the next 4 days, man, we're going to live it up. But then
4
I know
days
Wednesday.
off. Imagine the hell out of that.
I know. God, we are so good at this. And then Wednesday.
We're almost too good at this.
I know. Well, no, don't let them know that. Well, NXT, we got live reactions Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be seeing the Women's Battle Royal, seeing who's going to become the #1 contender to the new champion, Rhea Ripley. And then, of course, the week after that is going to be
Santana!
Yes, absolutely. And then, the week after that is going to be Keith Lee's opportunity with Roderick Strong in the North American Championship. Also, Wednesday on NXT, I'm personally curious about what Ciampa's going to do because I love the promo video he did about how he wants his life back in the NXT Championship. His life. I've watched that twice today. So good. So yeah, guys, NXT I think is still the best thing that WWE's got going. And then Thursday, we've got a Patreon request from the Chiefin. I'll tell you, Chiefin, you want to talk about loyal fucking fans. Chiefin supporting the Irish wrestling scene with his money, putting his money where his mouth is. You'll love to see it. And he's bringing us in on the fun because he's having us live react to the show. What was it, Ashton? Because I know you thought you had to look it up.
Sticking out.
Right? Yeah. So we're going to be doing that show. That's on Thursday. What time are we going live with that?
I think 4. We're going live at 4.
Okay, we're going live at 4. That's at 4 p.m. We'll knock that out. And then, it should just be a good time as we march closer to the Rumble. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone that sticks it out for these, you're the real fucking MVPs. And I love you guys, and we'll see you Wednesday. So just enjoy your 4-day weekend from the TWitWoW content. And then when you're nice and withdrawn from everything, then we'll just come back and give you your fix. So until then, guys, tune in. Peace out.